Ọganyara chọrọ ka ogbenye biri, ọganyara chọrọ ka ogbenye rie nri. Ogbenye chekwubezie Chukwu. N'uche Chukwu abụzi ka ya eme, n'uche Chukwu abụzi ka ya eme n'ụwa. Ihe o soro n'iru ya si arịbazie. Ogbenye bebe, ọganyara ṅụrịba, ogbenye ṅụrị, ọganyara ejebe ihe soro ya, mana ọganyara nwụọ, ogbenye adabebezi akwa. Ọganyara chọrọ ka ogbenye biri, ọganyara chọrọ ka ogbenye rie nri. Ogbenye chekwubezi akwa.
All right, yeah, we are going to start now. I have to appreciate all of you for waiting. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. I welcome all of you that are going to watch the program. Those of you that are here with us, you are welcome. I think we have a full house, you know. We have Ogoja, I see you. God bless you for joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Chino, all of you know Chino, so, and you know Coach Ogoja is not somebody that I need to introduce to you as well. We have the man of the hour, our own brother, Mr. Arnold. And, you know, many of you actually know him. I don't think I need to introduce him as well, but I have to, because we are all happy with what you are doing. You are welcome, Mr. Mike. Thank you so much for what you do. We appreciate you. We are very, very proud of you, especially what you are doing for humanity, not only Nigeria, not only Biafrans, and you always stand on the side of the truth. So the condition that we find ourselves today in Nigeria, some of us are confused. I'm not gonna lie. Some people don't know what to do. Some are struggling to figure out where to start. But with your work, with what you are doing, we begin to learn things, new things, based on what you are doing, your handwork, what you are doing about your recent posts, your videos about Sokoto Caliphate and all that. We personally, I for one, I'm learning a lot from that. I'm very proud of what you are doing. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike. You're welcome.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here with you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Chino, let's hear from you.
Yes, so I want to start by saying, Mazakai, good evening from here. And, I want to thank you for all the efforts. 1, for humanity. 2, for standing for what you believe on ideology that we are born with, which is that we want Biafra as a country in this 21st century. Standing on the side of USB, we are declared. Thank you for that. I want to also thank Mark Arnold for being here. It's not easy. At your level, we will call you, you will answer us, you try to have a program with us. Honestly, you are such a wonderful, amazing man in this world, honestly. And what I like about you is how you present the truth. You don't romance words. You go straight to the word and give it out to people to hear. I greet you and I welcome you to our platform. Thank you so much for coming to stay with us tonight. We will learn from you this evening.
Thank you. I look forward to
my brother, Okosha, honestly, I have reached out on your WhatsApp. I have looked for you, send messages. You are busy. You're a busy man.
No, it's because of my school. It's because I'm doing some courses. So because of that, I am not always on YouTube these days. Good evening, everyone. And good evening, Mr. Mike Arnold. Thank you so much for everything you have been doing. Like we were talking about you. That was day before yesterday, 2 days ago. And I was telling my friend that, listen, if you are not ready to, dilute the truth into your brain or into your heart, you can't follow Mike Arnold. Because know that when he will say what you like today, you will clap for him. If he say what you don't like tomorrow, are you ready to entertain the truth? So we were laughing about that. So that is the hard reality I also want to tell everyone. So if you know someone is saying the truth, even though the person say the truth that you don't like, you can't change the truth. So that is the reality we must face. Good evening, everyone, once more.
Thank you so much, Coach. God bless you for your time. Yeah, the truth of the matter, you are busy as well. Between you and Mike, I don't even know who is more busy, because for you to receive just message from Mike, I know you have to.
My own is temporary. My own is temporary because it's school activities. So
yes.
After some weeks now, or we are doing an exam now. So after some time now, we'll be free.
That's good. That's good. All right. Thank you so much. And we are going straight to the program. Like I said, Mr. Mike, you have seen what is going on. In fact, you know what is going on in Nigeria more than many of us, like I said earlier. And I just want to ask you, like, what can Christian Association of Nigeria, what they're doing now, how can you describe the role they're playing based on what is going on in Nigeria today?
So say again about the Christian Association of Nigeria. You want me to comment about them? Is that what you're asking?
What I mean is that because of the Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, their role so far, what they have done about it, are you contented with it, or do you think they should do more?
Oh, I don't think anybody in Nigeria is doing enough. I'm disappointed. I to be honest, I can't tell you exactly who's a member of CAN and who's not. I'll just talk in general about the Church of Nigeria, the Christianity of Nigeria. It's a lot like the rest of Nigeria. There's very rich and there's very poor.
Yeah.
And not a lot in the middle. And in the church, it's very corrupt and worthless and very, very righteous and strong. And there's not a lot in the middle. The ones that get the headlines and all the attention, and by and large are corrupt wolves that are fleecing the sheep and not feeding them.
Yeah.
I don't believe Jesus would have a private jet if he were here today. He certainly wouldn't have a big, huge facility with a golden dome, just miles from IDP camps, and have it sit there empty all day. I mean, that's just that's obscene. And the silence that look, the wealth of the top 10 richest pastors in Nigeria since the start of the current genocide to today, in the last decade and a half, the wealth has gone up with genocide, gone up with mass rape, gone up with displacement and slavery. Their wealth has gone up. That should, anybody with an open mind that cares about truth, that should be a damning indictment. Would Jesus sit there and get rich while people were being slaughtered around him? No, he would not. He would be out there fighting with everything he had at the top of his lungs. And there are pastors doing that. There are amazing, amazing Christians and Christian leaders, not just pastors, but people working in schools and orphanages and villages doing medical outreach that are giving their lives for the faith and for humanity. Those are the heroes, and that's the remnant that I believe God's going to build a great church out of, the capital C church.
Well, have you ever talked to one of these mega pastors? Have you ever managed to have in contact with them?
I've had interactions. So let me tell you something. Everybody knows it was October of last year that people, it sort of exploded with that press conference in Abuja. It should have happened a year before that. I was working directly with Pan Am Percy Paul, great man, and also a Linkway Ambassadors, a group that's out of USA and Nigeria, made up of diaspora Nigerians, great humanitarian group. And we had laid the groundwork for a massive concert in Abuja. We were going to, and based on the success of that, we were going to take it to Lagos and then to Atlanta, Georgia, to raise awareness and funds for the displaced and to raise awareness of the genocide. It would have been much bigger than that press conference ever was. It was more than a year ahead of it. And we had billboards, we had top people in the media that were on the committee helping organize and promote it. We had top talent lined up for a mega concert to raise awareness of all this. It was in the dark. A mega church pastor stepped up to offer his opinion.
I saw an I think a video of one of the, I don't want to mention name, one of the big pastor that also private jet owner.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll name names. Pastor Paul Anenche of the Glory Dome stepped up and offered his facility for this event. 100,000 seats. I sent money. They have lodging on site. We sent money for lodging and meals for our team. We had a choir of children from the IDP camp that had been training. Someone had donated matching clothes so they could come up, and they were going to go on stage. The world was going to hear the stories of the displaced. A God thing, and we had all ready to go. And 1 week in advance, Paul Anenche made the decision to cancel it. He didn't like the politics. And I have not been refunded the money I sent for meals and lodging. I only got part of that back. And it took more than a year. How many people died? How many people were displaced? How many women were raped and children abducted because the awareness didn't come in August of 2024 like it should have? That was, I just don't like the politics of it. We canceled it after all this work. All this hope. Politics of it. Well, I'm sorry. That organization has outposts all through Abuja, near many IDP camps, and I don't believe we've ever seen them in an IDP camp. Widows and orphans starving in the shadow of a golden dome is diabolical. So how's that for truth?
So, having known what you know about Nigeria today, do you think Nigeria is sustainable, like without division?
Absolutely not. Not in the current situation. No. Sharia law, just on the surface of it, is incompatible with. You can't be. It's oil and water. They don't mix. And you can't have a nation that is with most of the people against their will are shackled like slaves to the Sokoto Caliphate with no say. It's freakish. For example, just look at the minerals. Okay, in Nigeria, the oil underground belongs to the federal government, but the hard minerals underground belong to the people on top. Why is that? Because the oil is in the south and the hard minerals in the north. They get it all. How can that be sustainable? It's absurd. It's nowhere that I know of on the planet where Great Britain did this by shackling together two different incompatible people groups. Nowhere has it succeeded. And everywhere, I think Nigeria is the last and the biggest one that hasn't been separated for the good of humanity.
All right. Thank you for that. I think I need to give mic to Chino. Let's hear from you. That's Simon. Are you back? That's Simon. Are you there? Okay, she's not here with us. Chino, let's hear from you.
Yeah, Mazakai, thank you. Makano, thank you. Mazokosha, thank you so much for being with us. Well, my question is very simple because he has already hinted what I want to ask about.
Yes,
about Nigeria.
Don't pass
Where
me again.
Nigeria
You're not wearing
right
anything.
I can't
My
hear.
question is, if a full building crash from the foundation, what is obtainable for that building?
So if the foundation is bad,
For that building.
yeah, there's the building.
So if the foundation is bad,
Generally, it needs to be. I mean, foundation repair is very difficult. Generally, it just needs to be demolished.
Generally, it needs to be. I mean,
I'm getting an echo here.
Yeah, I'm also seeing the echo.
Okay. It sounds better now. But no, if the foundation of a building's bad, what did Jesus say? Wise man built his house on a rock, and it lasts. Build your house on sand, bad foundation. It can't stand. So no, and no great nation, no civilization worth anything has ever been built on a foundation of injustice, on the trampling of human rights. The foundation of Nigeria, there are best estimates, could be more, 10 to 12 million innocent people, both Christians and Muslims, mostly Christian, that I know of, who are been violently, brutally forced from their ancestral lands, from their fathers' homes, from their communities, experiencing the most horrific trauma, and now denied by the government, called criminals and beggars and vagrants. They are subject to being prey to the slavers and the sex traffickers. They go into these camps, and the police won't ever investigate. They're dying next to sewage ditches and shanties they built their own for no fault of their own, just because somebody yelled Allahu Akbar and started hacking up their loved ones. It's pure evil, and the future of the displaced is the future of Nigeria. And right now, this administration has no interest in helping the displaced. No great nation can be built on that at all. The displaced need to go home safely.
Okay. Then my second question is, with your experience of what is happening in the whole world, let me use that word. How many countries have you witnessed how they rehabilitated Boko Haram and put into their military? How many countries?
How many countries have ended what Boko Haram is doing?
Like what we have in Nigeria right now, we have Boko Haram. Let me use that word.
Not without. I haven't seen it without outside help. But Nigeria is a unique place too, though. I believe that they believe that they're fulfilling prophecy by being that if you look around the world according to the Sunni prophecy, every Muslim is taught that someday the Mahdi will arise, the jihad savior, the jihad Messiah is going to rise. The black flags will assemble, and that Mahdi will lead the final global jihad to take over the world. That is Islamic eschatology. Now they're subdivided by the different views. The Iranians believe that that school of thought that the Mahdi is a guy that already lived and he's hiding out and waiting for the time. But the Sunni believe he's going to come. He's still to come. But if you look at all of their prophecy, the only place on earth that satisfies it is the Sokoto Caliphate. And if you look at the history of the Hijra, I think I'm pronouncing that right, where Muhammad left Mecca. He was beaten in Mecca and left and went to Medina. It's called a Hijra. They retreated, rebuilt, and then launched the jihad. That still hasn't stopped to this day, 1,400 years later. In 2001, when the war on terror began, that was what the Islamic globalists would have considered their great tribulation. And it was during that time that I believe they determined at the highest level the Hijra to Nigeria is what was needed. The last caliphate on earth that fits the prophetic guidelines. And if you look now, there are 8 black flags at least that have assembled in northern Nigeria. They're clearing the land. Usman Dan Fodio, the founder of the Sokoto Caliphate, in his own writing said that he established it to be the launch pad for the Mahdi. The coming Mahdi was going to come to the Sokoto Caliphate through his bloodline, which was Muhammad's bloodline. So a lot of Islamic prophecy points to what's happening now, and they believe they're fulfilling it. They're going to launch the last final global jihad from northern Nigeria. So it's hard to compare it to other countries when you look at it that way.
Okay, let me ask this last one. Give chance for other people to make ask all their questions also. Now, my last question is: now, knowing all these things, and I know you as a man who don't romance words that goes out on the world. If Nigeria was be able to maintain Aburi Accord, what is happening right now? Could it happen if we stand on Aburi Accord?
No, I think the Aburi Accord, my understanding, a loose federation, semi-autonomous countries that are standing together for just the core functions of a federal government: human rights, justice, defense, but local control, self-determination. That's what Nigeria needs. And how many lives would have been? Gosh, I think Nigeria, specifically the South and Southeast, would be like a Wakanda today, fastest growing economic region on earth at the time, before they violated that accord and murdered 3 million children to keep control. But no, a loose federation is the only way that what's called Nigeria could possibly stay together. You can't have a centralized control, again, because they're incompatible populations, incompatible ideologies.
Okay, Mazkai, let me leave it here give chance for others in another round.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for you just maintain the time. Let's hear from Okocha. That's Among, we are coming to you, and we were calling you before. I think you are not here. My brother, have the mic.
All right, thank you so much. I think most of the questions you people have thrown in are part of the questions I was going to ask our brother, Mike Arnold. So Mike Arnold posted something a few days ago, if not about a week, about the end time prophecy of this Islamic people, their eschatology. So I'm a kind of person that anytime I come to social media, I use AI to summarize people's comments. So I can come the whole comment, even though the comment is up to 10,000, I will use AI to summarize it, to know what people are talking about. So AI will give you up to 20 different thoughts. Number one, number two, number three, the percentage of people who are talking about this or this. And I used to do this because I want to know the mindset of people. Okay. So I used to do that in BBC Igbo, BBC Hausa, all those things. Anytime they are talking about this insecurity, insurgency, I would like to know what the people are saying. So there was one comment I summarized in that was in Shegumi post. Shegumi posted about China military machines. They said he was talking about, look at what China is parading. If it is an Islamic state now, US will look for a way to destroy the Islamic State. So I commented, I said, this is because despite China have this kind of regime they have, but Chinese don't have that intention to conquer the whole world under a religion or force people under their religion. But if, for example, Iran have the power China have today, we all are not safe, because Iran is going to, try to make the prophecy to come fast. They will say that they understand them to come and bring everybody under Sharia. So I try to summarize the comments there. I see that 49% of people there are talking about end time. So while I was growing up, I used to hear end time about Christianity.
Exactly.
And the concept of end time in Christianity is about redemption, the coming of our Savior Jesus Christ, where everybody will receive their reward. This is the ideology I have about end time. I never knew that another, yes, as a Christian, I never knew that another end time ideology that will erase other people exists. So I want you people to always summarize content to know what people are saying. So when I saw it, I say, okay, this is what Mike Arnold was talking about. So these people are the one confessing it by themselves that no matter what China will do, that end time will come and Islam will take over the world. Like, what kind of mindset is this? And when you look at it, it is materializing. Like, you can see it. They are moving. They are doing all sorts of things. So with this, I want to ask question to Mr. Mike Arnold, because there was a live section. He said a lot of things that also shifted my ideology about the present day Nigeria. So ever since that day, I started campaigning, not on social media. I started campaigning about gun revolution because we had a problem with the possession of gun. Before the coming of General Muhammadu Buhari as the president of Nigeria, my father had gun and a lot of people had gun. They use it to hunt, to do all sorts of things. They use it to guide community at night. But this man mandated, he signed executive order that the gun should be retrieved from everybody. Then after that, they started saying that they should send all these Fulanis to each community to form Ruga for them to stay. Then after that, we started hearing they are arming the Fulanis. It was a calculated agenda. Collect gun from them, arm the Fulanis. So now we still have a ray of hope of owning gun. Like me, I have my own pump passion. It was well registered. How I got it was I had to join a vigilante group, or other people had it by joining the National Hunters Association. You will go further 1 week or 2 weeks training. So I said, if every community, you have 200 men, 100 men who have pump passion. Pump passion is not sophisticated like AK-47, but 100 pump action can also withstand. It's not a guarantee that your community is safe, but it can also withstand all these terrorists if they invade your community. So I want to put forward the question to Mike Arnold, like, what do you think we should do to raise more awareness? Because we're already doing even out of social media, we are doing the campaign that people should arm themselves back, like the way we did before. Like in my community, that time I don't even have gun. And that was last 2 years. These people, this Fulani militia invaded our community. For good 3 months, we are farmers. We did not go to farm. Before we said, it's either you choose to die or you defend yourselves. And our vigilante did marvelous work. And since that day till today, if they hear about our village, they will pass around. They don't enter the village again. So I am raising more awareness that people should arm themselves, and you must join vigilante group. I was in Libya. I worked in Libya for some time. I discovered one thing: Libya don't have government, just similar to Nigeria, because we have pseudo government. Every household you will enter in Libya, if something is happening, they won't call police, because they have like 7 guns there. They are like a country without government, the way we are now. So I want to put forward the question: what else do you think we should do, Mr. Mike Arnold, about this gun revolution so that people can arm themselves and defend themselves?
Okay, there, I unmuted there. Good question. And you came to the right place. I'm not only an American, I'm a Texan, and I'm a life member of the National Rifle Association for, 40 years now. Americans, smart Americans, Americans that know our history and our heritage and the importance of freedom, know a whole lot about this issue. Our Second Amendment and our Bill of Rights, which we believe is a statement of God-given rights, and it's powers that to the people that limits the government. The Second Amendment is the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. We understood that a free people is an armed people, and if you look at history, Nazi Germany, one of the first big reform that Hitler did was gun control. He took people's guns away. Gee, I wonder why. What did that lead to? Tyrants need people who are disarmed. And there's a definitive book on the subject. Now, it's based on America. It's based on crime statistics. It was written by a college professor, and it's above reproach. The title of the book is More Guns, Less Crime. That's and it's based on in-depth, long historical statistics of crime. The communities that have the gun control have more crime because when guns are outlawed, only outlaws have guns, right? And I'm going to show you something. In fact, it was Ambassador Sam Brownback that when after the press conference in October, said I needed to be doing this. Thank God I live in Texas. I don't have a license. It's called open carry. It's called constitutional carry. I'm carrying a Glock right now. Because I've been threatened. My life's been threatened. And guess what? Bring it on. I know how to use this thing. It's a number of years ago. The state of Florida and the United States, in recent decades, it's been the open carry and concealed carry. People carry. It's been a legislative thing, and Florida had open carry, where people, the citizens could carry guns. And for a while, there was a lot of attacks on people that were driving rent cars, and they couldn't figure out why are they attacking people. And they realized that sticker that says this is a rent car, from this agency, that meant the people were likely from out of state, so they didn't have a gun. So they were attacking the people that were disarmed. So they took the labels off the cars, and people stopped being attacked for driving a rent car, because being disarmed makes you a victim. And that's why no tyrannical government will let its citizens be armed. Yet they'll give guns to the Fulani militia, Mayedi Allah, but they'll take them away, the homemade guns away from the citizens, call them terrorists. America sees through that. I wish Nigerians would stand up and arm themselves, start shooting back. Now, I'm not in favor of violent, aggression, but self-defense, 100%. You should have overwhelming lethal force if someone's trying to kill you. And next time they try to convict somebody for self-defense, I'm not going to say the nation should burn, but the Constitution should be burned that allows that. Convicting a person for self-defense, that's satanic. Let the people have arms. The good people will have the power then, and you'll see the crime go down. You'll see terrorism stop when the people are armed.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. That is all, because that is what I am massively doing now. And I think it is urgent, and that is what I want to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Sure. I mean, that's just again, in America, we recognize it as a fundamental God-given human right. The government can't infringe it. It is, we define, here's our rights. Now, government, you can do the rest, but you can't touch this. And that's what we established our government, because God, we believe, gave us the right to carry guns for self-defense and also to resist tyranny. It was the citizens that were able to throw out the British. Y'all weren't ever able to do that, but we did. We got our freedom by kicking out the damn British, because we were armed. And in fact, the first battle, Lexington and Concord, is because the British were going to go and disarm the citizens of a community. And they said, no, you're not disarming us. And that's how the American Revolution started. So, we have a different perspective here, but it's proven, it's proven. When the schools, you hear about school shootings, which is a horrible thing, but, the teachers aren't allowed to carry in some states, in Texas, in some school districts. They allow the teachers to carry guns, concealed carry, and you don't have a tax there. The students are safe because the people, the sheepdogs, are better armed than the wolves. That's the way it should be. That's why there's school shooting. Anywhere there's a gun-free zone, because there's signs, no guns allowed here, that's where the shootings take place, because the people that is armed, the criminals, don't care about those signs.
Wow, thank you so much. Kai Report, over to you.
All right, thank you so much, my good brother.
And I want to take excuse. Maybe after 10 minutes, I've got to go and study for tomorrow's exam.
No problem. Yeah, no problem.
All right.
We are happy to have you. Thank you so much. Ada Simon, let's hear from you. Ndewo.
Greetings, everyone. I appreciate all of you here today. In fact, we're pleased being in the midst of all of you here today. In fact, my heart is full of joy to be among the great people that have been preaching about the freedom of the Christians and the freedom of the indigenous people in that country called Nigeria. So I'm well pleased to be in your midst today. Brokai report, thank you so much for inviting me over to this wonderful program. I'm very, very pleased. I greet you also, my comrade, Biafra TV. Thank you so much for being here. And our one and only brother, Okocha, Marcel. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here in our midst. In fact, we love your programs. We also follow you up. At times, we also use your programs to, do also our program. You are awesome. You are awesome. I hope it's not it. I hope we are free to use your programs. I hope.
Yes, ma. Yes.
I hope it's not a problem.
No, it's not a problem. You know that I talk about insecurity, mention law, this or that. So most of them are not monetized. So you can use it as you like on every platform. If you go to Facebook, you see everybody use it. So I'm not interested whether someone is using it, because my mission is to let the message be passed.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your work. We really appreciate you. You are awesome. Thank you so much. And we say continue doing what you know how to do best. Thank you so much. And my special greetings is going to our, I think this is our elder brother here. I can call him Mike. Mike, you are our elder brother. So we really appreciate you for being part of this program, and we also appreciate you for what you do for the masses, more especially the Biafran people. Remembering,
I think the network knocked him out.
Okay.
Don't worry, he will come back. Don't worry.
He will come back.
Continue.
Okay. So we really appreciate him for what he do out there on daily basis. We really appreciate him so much, and we say, may God continue to protect you. May God continue to guide you. Thank you so much for being the mouthpiece of the people, of the Christians in Nigeria and also in Biafra land. Thank you so much, our elder brother Mike. We really appreciate and love you. Thank you so much, and welcome to the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't know that I'm that much older. I just the gray hair. Come on. I'm honored, and I really do appreciate it.
I think what she's trying to say is that a kind of a sign of respect.
I get it.
When we say elder brother, it means that we have every right to respect you and all that. So not this is not age issue. I don't think it's
not age issue. No, we see you as part of us right now. As you can see in the social media, people have given you a lot of names. They have given you Igbo names.
And also terrorist and a bunch of. I mean, they call me all kinds of stuff on social media. The devil.
That is what terrorist sympathizers do. They will be
yes.
Other terrorists.
So that's just a way to appreciate you for what you are doing, being the mouthpiece of the Christians that have been massacred on daily basis in Biafra land and also in Nigeria as a whole. Thank you so much. Even when the Nigerian terrorist government doesn't even care about their own citizens. They don't care that everybody is being massacred or being butchered. What they are interested on is on their political affairs, and they don't even care about the masses. So that country have been a very terrible place for Christians to be. In fact, Thank you so much, Mike, for what you do. Speaking up for the helpless, being the mouth of the poor people in that country and also in Biafra land. Thank you so much, Mike. We really appreciate you for doing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So thank you, my people, for inviting me over to this program. I'm very, very pleased. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Nice to have you as well. All right, so we are going to go one more round before we now send the link, because I know, Mr. Mike, I think you won't mind to receive questions from people, right?
Absolutely, yeah, that's what I'm here for, and I accept the title of elder. It fits. I am old, and it means a lot. I wasn't meaning to belittle that.
You are very strong. You are very strong.
Thank you. It means a lot, and sometimes I don't know how to handle all the honor that you people give me.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, we don't have an honor culture here, and you got to fight for attention. You got to fight for people to listen to you, and I deeply respect the honor culture and the honor given to me. I endeavor to steward it in a way that pleases God. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. That's why I asked. I started by asking you about Christianity and the pastors, what they're doing so far. Is it sustainable? Reason being that you have been very active, doing what they cannot do. You are very bold, you are saying it the way it's supposed to be. And when we turn around to listen to these pastors, we'll be hearing different things. One of the top pastors, like I said, I don't want to call them, so they will not say that you are dragging a pastor and all that. He just said that that Biafra, people should forget about Biafra. Don't talk about Biafran freedom. And to him, the best thing to do is to make sure you elect somebody that will fix the country. So, but they don't want to talk about the ideology that govern the country, because the country, Nigeria, just like you said, that with the idea of caliphate, that it cannot be, it's not sustainable, and that is what this pastor cannot do. They can't say that. I'm surprised to see even a Catholic bishop preaching this kind of things, trying to make it look like it is difficult to understand. You see, so I'm very, very happy to hear from you and to have you in our program. So we have one of our brother who is here now, Exodus. Exodus, just 1 minute then before I bring it up, okay? Because I want to ask Mike, since we all agree that Nigeria cannot, continue this way, and something must be done, and one of these is to divide the country. Even though when you talk about division, so people see it as an attack on a tribe, that some other you are saying that because you hate one tribe. To me, it's not about hate on any tribe. It's about putting things the way it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Because we have tried, like Mas Namorkan, whom you understand his ideology now. I believe you know a lot about Mas Namorkan. If you can check back, you will find out that he was even protesting in London, against Boko Haram, the way government is relaxing their energy on Boko Haram, trying to politicize everything. And Mas Namorkan was, in that protest, he said a lot, that if government refuses to step up, the way they're going on, it will lead to the country to divide. And after that, government ignored him. Of course, they always ignore everybody that carry good message, trying to wake them up to do something. Look at it today. Everything he said in the past is now playing out, and yet we see some of them calling for his head. They should do this and do that. And people from the north who used to criticize Mas Namodekan, who used to criticize him that he's calling for war, because when you talk about division or separation, they will say that you are provoking the one other tribe, for example, the north. So, and in the north today, we are now having a lot of IDP camp, whom you yourself are very, very, aware of what is going on there, because I try to, check one or two things. I find out that you are topping the list of people that are helping people in the IDP camp. You are doing all you can to make sure that you help them in any way you can, which is very, very good. Now, that is what Masakan was trying to stop. And Those things that Master was preaching is now playing before them. People in IDP camp, I just want to ask you, because I think you know a lot about what is going on in IDP camp in Nigeria today. All these people that are being sent to IDP camp, like Nigerian government, have they sent them back to their ancestral home? Is any of them have they returned back to their home after chasing them to IDP camp?
Oh, so I don't know all the IDP camps everywhere. I can tell you that.
No, the one you know.
Yeah, no. So I can tell you even more than that. So a couple things. For one, there are bigger, more formal, wholesale IDP camps that the government recognizes that are in the north, and they're hellish in their own right. But the ones when they've been encouraged, you should go there. They've been told that the only way they can ever leave is to convert to Islam, so they won't go there. But so in 2024, in August, September of 2024, we sent a crew back to Ngoshe in Gwoza. Most of the IDPs that we work with in Abuja are from there, Gwoza, Ngoshe, that northeast part of Borno State. Others are from Chibok. There's other camps, but they want to go home. And at the time, the government had declared Boko Haram defeated, and so they went to our organizers, my dear covenant brother and his wife, who run my ministry in Abuja, and two IDPs, brave people. They went back. Just to get there was an ordeal. They had to go to Maiduguri and then get in a military convoy with a machine gun truck to travel through the countryside where Boko Haram was defeated, supposedly. They get back to their old community. This is, it was a beautiful little community where they had grown up. They had schools, they had churches, they had homes, they had farms. And they get there and everything is still utterly destroyed. It's just post-apocalyptic. In the middle of that is a military cordoned area. They have it cleared around there. You can't go through the nomads land, and there's military outposts there in Ngoshe. And that's where they had to stay, and they couldn't stay very long. Now, they found a church there that the military chaplain had set up. He felt called by God to set up this church. And brave, the only church in the community. And they didn't know what was going to happen when they started playing music, but they started playing music, and they say people started running in to worship the More Than Conquerors Church in Ngoshe. They found that there. They got word that Boko Haram, or there was an attack imminent, so they had to leave. But I've got video of all this. Okay, this was the place the government said was safe. They made it back safely to Abuja, to their shanty in the IDP camp. A month or so later, I got a video. I'm connected with the pastor of that church there on WhatsApp. There's a video that Boko Haram had put out. This was October of 2024, just a couple months after our team was there. Again, a couple months after the government declared Boko Haram defeated. This was a Boko Haram recruitment video. An entire crowd of people, men, women, children, were gathered around, and they had about a dozen men on their knees and women as well. The women were all taken off, as they are into sex slavery, and they proceeded to cut off the heads of all of those men with very dull axes and machetes. It took them, a long time. As this crowd cheered, men, women, and children cheered as they were holding up the heads. One of those heads was a member of the More Than Conquerors Church. One of those young women that was sold into slavery was a member. They had left the military area to go get food. Okay. So that was 2024. Just last year and earlier this year, the government once again declared it was safe, encouraged people to come home. There was refugees in Cameroon that were from Gwoza and Ngoshe, these same IDPs. They just were able to stay in Cameroon. And the government paid them to come home back to Ngoshe. And within weeks, they were all massacred or hauled off into slavery, and that church was destroyed. That happened earlier this year. Okay, the government paid them to go back, and they were massacred. So you ask me if these people can go home. You tell them, can they go home? Only if they want to get massacred.
Yeah.
No, there's no control. The government has no control of the ground there. I stay in touch. There's constant attacks. There. Last I heard, they were trying to get into Maiduguri. But Boko Haram is alive and well in these people's homelands. Look, if they could go home, there would be fewer displaced today because they want to go home. They don't want to live in these hellholes. But there's more displaced every day. No, they can't go back. This government doesn't care. The government doesn't want them to go back because they're purifying the ground for the Mahdi.
Okay, I will come back because I want us to discuss about the Sokoto declaration that is coming up, right? Yeah. So let me give back to my brother that is Exodus. Let's hear from you. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Mordecai. Thank you so much for this wonderful program. And I greet you at Biafran TV. And also greet you, my sister, Atasamo Neba. And most importantly, I want to salute you, Mr. Mike Arnold. It's a great pleasure meeting you, to have you in our midst, to come and speak with us. So I feel so much happy to be part of this program. So I just want to be here to be a witness. Just want to be here to be a witness of what you're about to say. And then if I have any question across the line, I will put it across. And I also want to use the opportunity to greet all the followers and the Biafrans all over the world and lovers of freedom all over the world. This is another great opportunity for us to listen to a man of truth, the man that is fighting to redeem Christians from what is happening, from the oppression of the Fulani Caliphate. I believe this is our season of redemption. This is a season of our liberation. And we have God. One with God is majority. An appointed time, the people of God will be saved. There was a word that said when Pharaoh was holding their people down, a word came, said, Pharaoh, let my people go. And Pharaoh refused to allow the people of God to go. An appointed time came. God was able to humble Pharaoh. So I believe the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, is going to humble every Pharaoh that is holding Biafra down. And this is a season of freedom. So Mike Arnold, I salute you. May God continue to bless you in everything that you are putting in to make sure that the people of God are free. Keep on doing it. God's grace will continue to abound towards you in Jesus' name. Amen. I yield my mic, Mazika.
Thank you so much. If you have a question also, you can come up with the question. Ada someone, you wanted to ask question before, right? I hope you have your question ready, or should I go on?
Yes, I have one now. Maybe later.
Okay. Let's hear from you.
Yeah. Mike, I greet you once more for honoring this great invitation to also talk to the people of Biafra and the indigenous people in Nigeria. Thank you so much. I want to ask, first of all, you know already why our leader, Mazinande Kano, is being thrown into the prison today, just because he said that these terrorists, they are coming, that everybody needs to defend themselves, protect themselves from these people that are coming. Without doing anything, they left him in the dungeon of the DSS for complete 5 good years, without trial, without anything. And then at the end of the day, they now have to give him a life sentence imprisonment without doing anything, while the terrorists are moving freely in Nigeria, committing mayhem to the indigenous people, to the Christians, all over that place, and also in Biafra land. And nobody is doing anything, nobody is talking. Even Sheikh Gumi is also there telling them what to do, and he's still walking freely on that street of Nigeria today. And even as you know, the vice president of Nigeria is the founder of Boko Haram, And these are the people that are sponsoring this terrorism in Nigeria today. And nobody is doing anything. He's still sitting down there as the vice president of Nigeria. Now, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who did not commit any crime, is being thrown into the Sokoto prison without any reason. So please, Mike, my question here is that, is it wrong for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to tell his people to protect themselves from the terrorists that then he said was coming, and now everybody is seeing what they are doing now in Nigeria and also in Biafra land, terrorizing the Biafran people, killing the Biafran people, forcefully taking away the Biafran people and disappearing our youth. Also, if you go around the Nigeria prisons today, both known and the known ones, the people you are going to see there are the people of Biafra. And this breaks our heart, seeing our people in all these prisons without committing any crime, just because they want to be free, just because they don't want a country that reintegrates terrorists into their own system to what they cannot do inside the bushes. They come out legalized, giving guns and bullets to go and be massacring people up and down. So, Mike, is it a wrong thing for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to tell his people and the indigenous people of Nigeria also to protect themselves? Even T.Y. Danjuma said it, that everybody should protect themselves, because that the army of Nigeria, that they have colluded with these terrorists. They have colluded. And if they continue to wait for these armies to come and help them, that nobody will help them, they are going to, all of them will die one by one. Even the DG of DSS also said so, that people should go and look for something to protect themselves, defend themselves from these terrorists. So why is it that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case is different here? We even saying what, even all the things that he said came to pass today, and they throw him into the prison just simply because he is a Biafran person and also the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. That is just all. So please, what do you say about this? Is it wrong for our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to say this to his people and also to the indigenous people of Nigeria? Thank you so much, Mike.
Absolutely. And thank you for the question. I stated earlier, as an American, our Constitution, which has been a model for freedom around the world, America's not perfect. We've had our flaws, and we still do. But you can't imagine a world without America. We were since ancient Greece, the first really to establish government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we've done our best to spread that around the world. And foundational to our Constitution is the Bill of Rights. We believe these are God-given rights, and the government has no right to take them away. And the Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights is the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And we believe that's God-given. And so I believe anybody that proclaims that, and that's not just for hunting, not just for self-defense, but it's also for keeping tyranny in check. And anybody that proclaims that, I believe, is proclaiming the will of God, because we believe it's a God-given right. So no, he has every right to shout that from the rooftop, and they have no right to stop him under God. But you have to realize, to people living in darkness, truth is terrorism. Light, when you're living, when it's dark and someone shines a bright light in your face, it hurts, and that's why he's locked up. I find it ironic that if he had gone in, burned a village, cut everybody's heads off with axes, raped the women, and sold the children to sex slavery and yelled Allahu Akbar while he was doing it, if he had done that, they would have given him free room and board, an education, and turned him loose back to the bush within 6 months. That's what they would have done with a terrorist. But no, he spoke truth, and so he has life in prison. Explain the rationale to me where that makes sense. It doesn't. It's tyranny, it's impunity, and it's unjust.
So, is there anything maybe to be done to make sure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is out from that Nigerian prison, and also our people, Biafra youth that have been taken to all these various prisons in Nigeria, even without committing any crime, just because they are Biafrans, and also they said we don't want to belong to or cohabit with a country that reintegrates terrorists into their system. And then they are being taken away on daily basis and nobody is doing anything about that. Please, is there anything that could be done to see that these our people are being released, and also Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Thank you so much.
Sure. So two ways to approach that. First is, well, Sunday Jackson got sprung from prison, and it took U.S. My recollection is U.S. Congressman Riley Moore demanded it. I think if Trump were to demand his release, he'd be released. I tend to think that. But on the bigger picture, what you're describing is just the symptoms of cancer, and there's no, you can give some painkillers to treat the symptoms, but until the cancer is removed, it's not going to change. And that cancer is this Constitution, the federal government, and the boundaries the way they're drawn, with Sharia states, sitting in a dominant position over everybody else. It's irredeemable. And you can't expect any rights or power to be given to the people out of a machine like that. That's was set up and propped up to pave the way for the Mahdi. Is what, when you really get down to it, they're keeping the infidels in check so they can keep harvesting from their garden. But no, if you expect this government to give you any power or any rights, you'll be waiting a very long time. I can't hear.
I think you mute your mic, my sister. Check your mic.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, Mike, the next question for now, I want to ask is, now we have already declared Biafra in Latin Finland on the 29th of November 2024. And now that makes us automatically an independent and a sovereign nation. And remember, Biafra was a sovereign nation before the amalgamation of Nigeria. And now we have redeclared this particular country again, and which made us automatically a sovereign and an independent nation. Do you believe that the Nigerian terrorist government are occupying a sovereign nation and they must leave Biafra land? Because their presence in our land, as they continue to occupy that place, Biafra land, that brings danger to our people. They continue to commit mayhem to the Biafran people. They continue to forcibly disappear our people and also massacre the Biafran people. So please, Mike, do you think that the Nigerian terrorist state should leave Biafra land since we have redeclared our nation? Thank you so much.
Sure. And I have built my reputation on speaking truth, and that means speaking to things that I know something about, in depth, that I've been able to explore. I really don't know the international law where it comes to that, and I would just be shooting from the hip. I don't want to do that. I do know that without recognition any other country on earth, you wouldn't be able to enforce anything. As long as the powers of this world don't recognize your independence, and they do recognize the existing government, you're taking your fate in your own hands. And last time that didn't end very well. And I mean that, you know, legitimately. I think that I don't know what you're saying with the legal status. I don't know, but I do know that the fight would be to get recognition. So you have the world behind you, because that's what it takes to settle things like this historically. So just declaring it again, I don't know the legality, but that in and of itself, in practical terms, in playing out in reality, is simply not enough without the world behind you, without at least some leading nations recognizing you. I know with our independence in America, when we got started, it took France recognizing us and supporting us for us to be able to manifest that. And that's what you're asking. How do we manifest it? Okay. Just demanding it, just filing paperwork is not going to manifest it. There's a lot more work to do. I wish I could go deeper, and I will study it more.
All right. I think you have answered that, Mr. Mike. And
thank you so much.
I think Mazuka is coming from here, please.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm coming to you, Rebecca. I was trying to, take it step by step to get to that question. But since I was there, I've asked the question. Yeah. It is very, very nice. And we are coming back to similar thing as well. But we have Rose in the house, and Exodus said you have a question, my brother. Let's hear from you. Exodus.
You guys can continue. Good evening, everyone. You guys can continue. I'll ask my question in a bit, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Exodus, have the mic.
It's all right. Thank you so much once again, Mazikai. And also thank you so much again, Mr. Arnold, for your spirit of humility and understanding, answering our question and reasoning with us. And the question I wanted to ask, our sister have partially asked it. And before I rephrase this question, I wanted to have a direct answer from you, Mr. Arnold. Number one, I want to establish this. And Biafra has been redeclared in Finland on 29th of November, 2024, the year of the Lord. Mazinandi Carlo is the supreme leader of the United States of Biafra, which is our president technically. And Simon Ekpa is the prime minister of the United States of Biafra. And we have Dr. Ngozi Rabeze, which is the deputy prime minister officially of the United States of the Biafra government. And there are some factions that are rising up in speaking against the redeclaration of the United States of Biafra. After our self-referendum, over 50 million Biafrans voted to leave Nigeria. The decision of we, the people, which is official, which nobody's going to take it away from us. And I wanted to use this opportunity to pass this message across to you, because I know the way you're laboring, speaking to Biafrans universally. I want to let you know that we have real Biafrans and we have fake Biafrans. I believe by this time around, you're supposed to figure it out. Anything outside the United States of Biafran government, in times of this Biafran movement, anything outside USB is fake. I want to tell you for this one for free, live and direct on this live program. Just I want you to get it at the back of your mind. You need to do your investigations. Take your time and do your investigations. Be very, very careful. I don't want anybody to come and deceive you, to come and manipulate you, or to come and poison your mind against USB government, but to do your investigation. Now I want to ask this question straight up. I want to ask, Mr. Mike Arnold, are you aware Biafra has been redeclared in Finland, 29th of November 2024 by the United States of Biafran government? Are you aware of it?
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay. Are you aware that Dr. Ngozi Rabeze is the Deputy Prime Minister of the United States of Biafra?
Yeah, I know who she is.
You know it?
Yeah, I know. Okay, here's the thing.
Are you aware that Dr. Ngozi Rabeze is the Deputy Prime Minister of the United States of Biafra by your own finding?
Well, yeah, that's the title that she uses, yeah.
Okay. Are you also aware that PM Simon Ekpa is the Prime Minister technically of the United States of Biafra officially? Do you know?
I really, Look, I'm about the vision. I'm about the future. I'm not about division. And I don't think that having public conversations where people in the same movement throw stones at each other, I don't think that's beneficial. Not that they shouldn't be worked out, but I think they should be worked out in private. I think every stone you throw at each other is a stone the government doesn't have to throw on you. I'm going to be a voice of unity. I'm going to be a voice of vision. I'm not going to be a voice of division. So I don't want to get into any divisive conversation publicly. We can talk about it offline. I just don't. I think that the movement needs better discipline than that, because look, you can line up 1,000 Americans. First of all, 990 of them couldn't find Nigeria on a map, and literally 1,000 of them would have never heard the word Biafra. Okay. You get one chance to make a first impression. You get one chance to do branding. And if it's all a bunch of infighting and posers and claimants and not them but us, I understand that there's differences, but those need to be settled behind closed doors for the good of the movement, because otherwise it's just anybody that's going to pay attention to it's going to be so confused that they'll just back away. And you can't have that. You need the world behind you. Until another nation recognizes you, you have nothing. I mean, in reality, practical reality, to manifest what you want, you need more discipline in the movement. So I really don't want to get into the internal politics of it.
All right.
Thank you so much.
It is what it is.
I'm ready.
I know a lot more, and I know a lot of what I understand, and I've met a lot of these people, and I have impressions of them. I'm not going to air that dirty laundry in public. That's not right. That's not good for the movement.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike. And are you done with your question? Do you still have one more question? Exodus.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way they answered it. I'm very, very pleased the way he answered it, because what I wanted to point out here clearly is that we, Biafrans, we are preaching unity among our people, and we don't want division among ourselves.
Thank you so much.
And I don't want, just like United States of Biafra stands for peace, stand for fairness, stand for equity, and stand for justice. And everybody, everybody is supposed to be united under one umbrella, under one leadership. Those people that are preaching division among us, they are the ones that are bringing problem among us, and we need to figure them out. All we need, we are one family, one country, one nation, USB. That's what we believe. So thank you so much for your answers. I appreciate
it. And thank you. And I feel called, my spiritual father, the late great Professor John Ofoibu from Ngugo outside of Owerri, founded his group that he built was Unity for Africa, aka the International Coalition of Reconcilers. And he was the real first true earth shaker. He led the Prime Minister of Kenya to Christ. They had ministry all over the world. But it was all a ministry of reconciliation. It was a ministry of unity. And I carry his mantle. He prayed it over me in his village. And I believe part of my calling is to help bring unity to the movement. And I'm going to tell you, it's beyond Biafra. Okay, we can go deep into it, but there are all over Nigeria have the same enemy and are terrorized by the same darkness. And I believe that all want and deserve autonomy and self-determination. And I believe there must be unanimous unity within the Biafra movement, but it must extend way beyond that, so that you can agree to go your separate ways when it's all over. I believe that's the way forward. I'm considering and look for this, a summit in St. Kitts. It's the only place where Nigerians and Americans can meet, and nobody needs a special visa. And it doesn't cost much more than flying to America to get there. It's a Caribbean island, so I'm considering doing a summit early this fall in St. Kitts to bring all the groups together, and let's break up and hammer out these things. Let's have the fights there. Let's work this stuff out in private. But I'm encouraging everybody that's in the sound of my voice, stop throwing stones at somebody in the movement, even if you think they're evil. Do it privately, resolve it internally for the good of your movement.
So much, Mr. Mike. I just want to add something before I call Roseanne. You see, based on what my brother here said, all the questions that Simon asked and different Exodus is in line with what I wanted to ask. And I just want to ask one more thing, because you talked about unity and bringing people together, that you don't need internal problem. But I want you to understand also that you know about Reno Mokre, right? I'm sorry that I'm bringing his name often here because at least is somebody that you can give, you can tell, you can give, history, his own lifestyle and what he normally do. We still have people like that in our midst. All right, and the people who cannot do without lies, people who cannot do without fabricating or twisting truth. So we, sometimes in life, you don't need to massage them for you to be together. And USB government as of today opened their door very, very wide for everybody. Do you understand? Yeah. So there's no segregation, no separation, because that is, I know that you are aware of PM Simon Ekpa. Oh, yeah. Masakan was kidnapped, in 2021, I think in June. He was kidnapped in Kenya. Immediately they kidnapped him. Our brothers in DOS, okay, Biafrans were expecting them to step up to the occasion, to do something, to continue where Masakan stopped. And it's not as if Masakan have not laid a template, the agitation, because Masakan is not a violence person. He don't believe in violence. So even during his time when he was here with us, every protest is only with the people go out with the flags, placards, and all that without having any weapon. They are not violent. So people who work with him know all those things, but they started going, different ways and all that. So what I'm trying to say is that anybody telling you that is about a division, USB is about division, it's not true. It is, if you come, you see. So the door is very, very wide open. If you come, as long as the only thing you need to understand is that as long as you are truthful, you are sincere to yourself, USB you can work with them. But if you have this kind of ulterior motive, you have a different agenda, you want to pretend, that's why I use the name Reno Mokre, because I think he's very, very famous to all of us. We know today he's saying this, the next hour he's acting a different thing. So you cannot have that kind of people in a movement like this. If you have, I don't know, if you have listened to Master Makano, one of the things that Master Makano hates so much is lies, telling lies, and gossip. If you are like that, you can't stay with Master Makano. And that is the same template that Master Ekpa hold firm to start preaching in line with what Master Makano was doing. So I'm not surprised that some people will come to you, begin to sound like cricket on your in your ear, trying to confuse you. It is normal thing to see. It's normal thing to have. If Nigerian people can be proud of Reno Mokre, then their friends should be proud of this kind of people as well. But as long as some people are a kind of, they don't want to have Reno around them, how can we be the one to how can we have the same thing to those people who are neither there or here? They are inconsistent. What they know is to tell lies. Okay, let me remind you, are you aware that your post today, what you are doing today, saying the truth, that some Biafrans that you want us to bring together, that we must come together to move forward, they don't like you. They don't like your post.
I know. I've been attacked worse by some Biafrans than I am from the Muslims.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know that shows me that I know who they are. They're not fooling anybody. But here's the thing, and I'm going to lay it out the way it should be done. It's what Jesus said. If you have an ought with your brother, first go to them and try to work it out in person. You don't post about it. You first go to them. If that doesn't work out, what did Jesus say? He said, take another brother with you. And in this context, you know, if your organization, your group, your leadership has a problem with other, you know, somebody that claims leadership, go to them one-on-one, try to work it out. If not, grab somebody else, grab me, I'll go with you, you know, try to work it out. Only then, if that doesn't work out, then do you go public with it. And then everybody's standing together saying, we tried, but this isn't working. So again, it's not about never ever, expelling. The Bible talks about expel the immoral brother, but it should be done decently and in good order. It should be done with wisdom. It should be done righteously, and Jesus laid it out very clearly. It's in Matthew 18, and that's the same as gossip. You know, work it out. Don't spread it. Don't be part of the problem. The people that look, I'm just trying to help. And the people that are throwing rocks at me, it's funny. I mean, we could go into it. I don't want to. When we're in private, we'll crack some jokes about it because it's insane. But you know, they just have to raise their money and keep living high on the hog, and they're afraid that I'm a threat to that. So hey, there you go. Who's next?
Everyone, Mazikino, Ada Simon, Exodus, and Mike Arnold, I greet you from here. It's my humble self, Mazi Rose, and I'm very pleased to be among you people here, and most especially speaking to the great man called Mike Arnold. All right, Mike Arnold, I just came in now, and then I decided to check what was going on here, and then I found you here. I didn't know you're coming up today. But anyways, I don't know if this question has been asked before I got in.
His network is not. My brother, are you commenting from Bongo?
Myself, my network is not.
Your network was dancing somehow.
Oh, really? Okay, but what about now? Is it better now?
Yeah. It's perfect. Yeah, perfect.
All right. All right. Thank you. So, Mike Arnold, at a superpower country, United States of America, what do you have to say about, I don't know if this question has been asked, about the adoption of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and then illegally convicted by the same Nigerian government that committed international kidnap, and then the world is quiet. And then secondly, our nation has been redeclared since on the 29th of November 2024. We have peacefully, the government of United States of Biafra has peacefully written to the Nigerian states to evacuate our sovereign nation. They refuses to do that. In these two things, since then, they have been killing Biafrans. Biafrans have been killed every single day. So what message are you going to give to Biafrans, and what assurance are you assuring us on going to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, if that is possible? But if it's not possible, we Biafrans should be notified so that we will know the next step to take. Because honestly, Mike Arnold, we are really hoping on United States of Biafra. So what do we have from here, sir?
Thank you. And it was asked earlier, but I'm happy to address it again. I don't think anybody on earth that looks at the case or has looked at the case thinks that there's any justice in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu being in prison. It was illegally done all the way through. It's total tyranny. It's total impunity. It's total disregard for Nigerian law and international law. It is silencing a voice is what it is. And the only reason they haven't killed them is because if they did, they know the place would explode. So they're sort of stuck. They can't kill them. They can't keep them, in public. So what do? They stick them in a dungeon in Sokoto. But here's the thing. Will this government ever release them? not without being bludgeoned by the international community. So yeah, if Trump were to demand it, I think it would happen. But barring that, I don't know. Look, they convicted him on a law that wasn't even on the books anymore. So I mean, they don't care what the law says. So a judge may, say, hey, the appeal's right. Is that going to mean they're going to unlock the door? No, I don't think so. The government needs to either needs to be beaten from the outside, or it needs to be torn down and rebuilt. I believe that's the case. Could be wrong, but no, I don't think that any appeals process. Now, you could have the greatest attorney on earth. You have Jesus himself come down and argue his appeal, and would the Sultan ever agree to unlock the door? Probably not. Without some pressure being applied. So raising awareness internationally is key. I believe that if you look historically at movements like this, there are figures, and a lot of them go through prison. Martin Luther King wrote his letter from a Birmingham prison, and you have Nelson Mandela, who actually had a legitimately violent past, but he's emerged as that unifying figure, the statesman figure. And I believe that Nnamdi Kanu is destined for that. But again, I don't think this government's just going to let him go, not without some force being applied.
All right, my Arnold. So what measure of force do you think can be applied before Mazi Nnamdi Kanu can be released? Because remember, Nigeria committed an international crime. Even up to today that I speak with you, no country has ever sanctioned Nigeria. And you see, the problem is, if you don't correct a child for his wrongdoing or her wrongdoing, they will still go back and do the same thing. So what is the world doing about it? Most especially the superpower we are looking at. One of you guys, I'm talking from here, United States of America. What is America doing to help the citizens of United States of Biafra? We are really dying.
America is doing nothing. The government doesn't recognize it. And as far as Nnamdi Kanu, again, I don't know that there's anything being done. I don't think there's any awareness of it at all. And that's why I talk about it. I post about it, and I will continue to do so, because it needs to be. People need to know the name. People need to know the story. And that's doesn't just happen. It's a very focused, concerted effort to raise awareness and to create a movement like that. So that's what needs to be done, and it's that's how I believe you get the pressure, at least from other countries, is just by telling the truth and keep shouting from the rooftops, until somebody pays attention. That needs to happen here and elsewhere around the world. Internally, Nigeria needs a new constitution and it needs a righteous regime change. Is there anything good going to come out of it until then? I don't see it.
All right, thank you. I think this should be my final question. Yeah, like the last time I saw you giving press briefing and then talking about trying to solve the Nigerian problem and then making sure everything is in order. Now, I personally don't believe Nigeria can work. So what is America doing to secure Christians in Nigeria, most especially in Biafran land? Thank you.
Well, you can watch news as well as I can. Trump just killed the #2 ISIS guy. He's wiping out some ISIS folks. As far as I know, that's what they're doing. Trump's tied up in Iran. And until that's resolved, I don't think he's going to pay any more attention to Nigeria. I don't know if Trump's getting good advice. I know he's getting a lot of bad, conflicted advice from the people around him and people that he's put in positions of influence. So, I don't know the mind of Trump. I know that there's doing their best to get the attention of the U.S. government, they're doing their best. I'm among, people that are walking the halls of Congress trying to raise awareness. But again, you line up 1,000 Americans on the street, 990 couldn't find Nigeria on a map. Couldn't tell you anything about Nigeria other than internet scammers. Literally, I'm just telling you the truth. They certainly don't know about the 1,000 out of 1,000 Americans. You couldn't find one that has ever heard the word Biafra. That you got a lot of work to do, and I'm here to help. But that's the reality of it. That's just the reality of it. And what you want to achieve is very doable, and I believe it's the righteous thing to do, and I believe it's God's will. But there's a lot more that must be done, and the movement needs, as I've been saying, needs discipline, and it needs some education. How to communicate, how to best depict our plight. You don't just get online and start yelling Biafra, Biafra, Biafra when people don't know what the word means. So there's some education, some discipline, some organization that must be done, and I believe it's doable, and I'm here to help.
All right, Rose, I think that is enough, right? Because you said this is your last question. Are you there, Mazi Rose?
Yes. For now, this is my. I'll just hang it on here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, because we are trying to, accommodate everybody. Because Arnold is not easy to. He don't have time, so we are trying to make sure that we, manage the time we have with him. All right, let us hear from Mazi Chino. Please have the floor.
Yeah, I greet everybody once again. I also greet our guest, Mark Arnold, for being here. I greet Mama Simon, Mazi Rosedos, all of you, other Simon, welcome everybody. I want to start by reminding Mark Arnold that our Prime Minister, Simon Epanjoko, is also illegally detained in Finland by Finland government. Because of what? The ideology that Biafra should be a country. And you also know that in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's ideology that is Biafra should be a country out of Nigeria, that he is repeating the true history of Chukwuemeka Odimegwu Ojukwu after the Aburi Accord failed, leads to Biafran War 1967 to 1970. That the world, even America today, refused to sanction Nigeria against crime of genocide, against crime of humanity, and also crime of food blockage in the middle of war. America by now, and the condition of Nigeria, that that Nigeria is like a glass bottle that fell on granite. There is no way to make it up. That the only solution of Nigeria is disintegration. Going back to Arnold, I don't know about the treaty that was being signed between North, Fulani Caliphate, the Yorubas, and the Igbos in 1884 about 3 nations, because I understand under research that treaty is only being signed by a country, not by organization. That this treaty that was being signed by British in 1884 signed that the South, that old Eastern region, which is the Igbo territory or Biafran territory, should have their own way of managing their mineral resources. Then the North should handle their own, and while Yorubas will handle their own as a nation also. That immediately British break this law and adopt into the amalgamation of 1914. That you and I understand that the amalgamation is all about by force with gun and bullet that we are seeing today in ideology of the Osman Danfodio, that Nigeria should be a Sharia country or Islamic country. Based on the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, being detained and kidnapped and put in prison. And the world refused to introduce what they did to South Africa. In case of Namibia in Africa, when the world sanctioned South Africa to allow the leader of Namibia to move on with their country until the declaration of Namibia as a country, why is it going to be that any leader who is fighting for a new country out of the old one must be in prison until recognition happens before they can be able to be free? Example of it is Mahatma of India, Nelson Mandela, Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya, and the Rahman of Bangladesh. These are men who fight for what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa Njoko is fighting for. They are all in prison. And the world never do anything until people they kept outside fight to actualize that country that they are fighting for while they are inside prison. This is our own case. So today, Simon Ekpa has entered in the world book of those who are fighting for a new nation that are in prison. That is the area I want to go on that one. Then also, I want to remember you that when America was declared, that America have different people that refuse, that America will never be a country, that when 56 continental congressmen signed that America should be a country, that are 500, including the Anglican clergy, signed that America will never be a country. That's, remember, that America did what? Declaration of America. Between the June and July 4th, 1776, on the issue of America becoming a country, that there is an internal Cold War of American people after the declaration of America as a country. That is what we are facing today. But before I come to that, remember that there is what they called from the United Nations Protocol Observation Cell, that in the 21st century, that started from 2001, that is going to end 2100, that if you lost a country, that the only way you can regain that country back is by peaceful redeclaration through a government in exile. Now, I want to ask you, McAllen, because there's a question I want to ask you, but I refuse to ask because you said that when it comes to the international law of a country and the recognition and all this, that is not clear to you. Now, I want to pass a message to you that when Poland lost their country in 1939 to 1990, that Poland transitioned into government in exile in America, in London, and France, moreover, Paris, where people of Poland transition into form a government in exile. What is the government in exile? A government in exile is not a protest organization. They are a structured, disciplined government of the people that lost their country. And you also know that issue of a Biafra, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for is issue of a lost country. Remember that a country called Ethiopia in Africa lost their country. When they lost their country, they transitioned into exile. What is exile? Is people of Africa running into America to try to build up their structure to have a country. They run into America, they run into London. When America and when people of Ethiopia run into London, they form what is called government in exile. The government in exile transition into peaceful declaration of America, Ethiopia as a country, and the world stand by them through the appearance of the government in exile of Ethiopia, later achieve recognition. Also remember that in case of Namibia and South Africa, that Namibia transitioned into exile, leaving the boundary of South Africa, transition into Angola, Tanzania, and Zimbabwe. When Tanzania tried to betray the government in exile of Namibia, like the way Finland betrayed the government in exile of Biafran by Prime Minister Simon, arresting him, put him in dungeon in Finland, that people of Namibia pack out from Tanzania and they based on Angola and Zimbabwe. Then they stand until the United Nations recognize them, also America given recognition. Now, Arnold, I want you to pass this message to people of America. Remember that when America was being declared, that first country that recognizes America was Morocco, African country. That was first country that recognizes America after a year and 6 months of America being declared their country by 56 intercontinental congressmen who signed a signature that America should be a country. Why 500 was against that America will never be a country? That they believed that remaining under Great Britain was the best thing they can do, that those who trying to divide them, put them out of Great Britain, that they are the name that we are calling you today, terrorists. They say that some of those people cannot be able to pay their tax. That is why they cannot be able to, they don't want to stay under the Great Britain authority. So the people of Biafra in a common wanted to tell you this to pass to America. What Morocco give to them when they declare their country? That we are asking America to give it back to us, and that we are going to be the better ally of America. Because of what? The world is defending their own. The world is in one text. What I mean, Islam help their own, protect their people, and they try to have Islamic organization where they all come in. America is not there because America is not an Islamic country. And the people of Biafra, you know us by nature. That is when we said, do you know about Ngozi Arabeze in America and what she stand? She stand that Biafra has already been re-declared. What America did in 1776 is what we have done back again. Also maintaining the history of how many countries I will mention now. Angola, re-declared. Poland, re-declared. Ireland, re-declared. Lithuania, re-declared. Baltic states, re-declared. These are those that lost their country, and they re-declare it through what? A government in exile. That is why today, that the Biafran people under Simon Eber, who was arrested and put in prison in Finland, gathered in Helsinki, Finland, November 2024, and we re-declare it again, why we have a government structure that re-declare the lost Biafra as a country back. So we are asking America to step up, to protect their own, because running hater-skater, trying to have self-determination, give people gun, they want to introduce many more violence in that the same region. The only solution that is what we have right now is what? Now we have a structural government. What is structural government? We have a law, and I believe that Arnold, by now, you have Biafra Constitution through USB re-declared. If you never have, you give us your address, we will send you Biafra Constitution. So you look at what it is. And also, the Constitution is also in the Amazon. Remember that we have conducted our own self-referendum with over 50 million Biafran voted. If you want the evidence, we will give you. What is that vote of self-referendum? The card or our logo of that self-referendum is United States of Biafra, that over 50 million will give Simon Ekpa Njoko to re-declare Biafra. Being in the prison, the chief of staff, Dr. Ngozi Arabeze, stood up and re-declare it on November the 29th, a way of getting a lost country back. Because the United Nations Charter, Article 2 in bracket 4 said, you must meet a criteria. The 4 criteria of the Montevideo Convention, sequence to the Vienna Convention, said you will have a permanent population. You will have a defined territory. We have defined our territory by the 40 states that was also registered in FERA in Washington, D.C. as a state of Biafra. We have also have a government that are very effective, that are controlling the Biafran people. So please, Mike Arnold, You can be a voice to that. Remember, the part 1 of the Declaration of American Independence by 56 men signed, while 500 was against. After that, America went into a very internal Cold War. Before this America that is world power today stand, we are calling on America to be the first to recognize Biafran people. Give us back what Morocco gives to you, is what we are demanding this time around, because of we have met every criteria to become a nation. That is why I ask you, if you don't have a constitution of Biafra as a country, we'll give it to you. If you need our 40-state map, we will give it to you. As I'm talking to you right now, the Biafra map that was lost or removed in the world map has come back to the world map again. What you will see on the arrow pointing is United State of Biafra. In African map, we are back again through the name what? United State of Biafra. Through our debate, Dr. Ngozi Arabeze, we have repeated all the history of all the countries that lost their country, that we are declare it back and form a government in exile. Our government now based in Washington, D.C., through Dr. Ngozi Arabeze and all the cabinet members. So please check out on us. There is no moving around because no country have used protests or a number of organizations to achieve their country. Without a government in exile, there is no country. And without a declaration of a lost country, there is no recognition. But the primary one is what? A government in exile that transition into a full structure of a government of a country that issue a peaceful declaration of a lost country. But if it's not a lost, if there's a new one, it's just declare like America. So we are calling for backup of America. That's what we are calling for right now. We are calling for America to stand up and say, United States of Biafra is a full nation. That is why I ask you, go into our constitution in Amazon, ask about Ngozi Arabeze. She will give you every down you need to know why we have maintained the criteria of United Nations, UN, and the EU. We have overmade this criteria. Number one criteria was the self-referendum of over 50 million, which is evidence at hand. Now we have our 40 states as a country, and we have a structured government. We also have our military. They are not in social media. They are protecting Biafran territory on their own capacity, but we will not do it because America could not chase Britain away if that France intervened, equipped you to chase away them. So we are calling on you to support USV declared as the only legitimate legal way to achieve a country. We believe in a peaceful ideology. That is why we call it what? Peaceful declaration. My message is to you, sir. Please, sir. There is no time for propaganda. What we are passing through, internal problem we are facing right now, is what America faced in their own time. And there is no way you can have a country without having internal problems. But I want you to remember that internal problem of America, over 500 signing that America will never be a country. It would be better to remain under Great Britain. Never stop. The 500 that was illegal, never win the 56 that was legal. So USD declared is legal. IPOB organization is an organization of a non-GO organization under protest, and no country have used protest to achieve country in this world. They all transition, they all issue declaration, lost, re-declared. We have re-declared. Take our mandate of our country back. The ideology of Biafra as a country will never die. The time is here right now. Now that Nigeria has collapsed, if Biafra is a country, what is happening in Nigeria will not be able to happen. What is happening in Nigeria will not be able to happen. Then we will protect ourselves. Yoruba will protect themselves. The North will protect themselves. And let me say this word. We are not going to be under this killing because of the people of Benue refuse to decide what they want. We have decided what we want, and we are not going to go back. Please, sir, our message is we have re-declared. We have a government. Everything in line. Protest is not a way of a country. Protest is what the world called noise making on the streets. That is under freedom of speech. It's also under self-determination. Depend on the criteria. The two criteria is you have a nation through a government in exile. These are the laws that guides us at right time under the United Nations Charter. Article 2 in bracket 4. Peaceful declaration to the 21st century is only the way. We have all it takes to be a country, but America is stopping by not recognizing us. Recognize Biafra, unite the state of Biafra as a country. All these killings in Nigeria will stop. You know that one for sure. I leave it to
all right, Chino, I think we are running short of time. I just want to add one thing before we welcome other people, because we have, exhausted. You have exhausted our time, to be honest. But just to add something to what you said, Mr. Mike, that I know when we talk like this, people there's one thing that they will hang on. They will start saying that they have something to do with Mazen Namorikano. That Mazen, you declared yourself that Mazen is not involved, because that is the propaganda that is selling on the street. So I just want to add something to that, because that is a lie from pit of hell. And I know you as somebody who dictates lies very, very fast. So I believe you are a very good researcher. I believe you're a very good listener. And I want you to start paying attention to those things that some people are, saying that is confusing a lot of people. Mazen Namorikano is part of the declaration that, this our brother he just talked about. Mazen Namorikano is part of it. You may ask why that he's in prison when it was declared. But before he went in, before he's kidnapped, he made it clear what he wants. All right, and that is non-violence. So, and Biafran declaring, declaring the nation is just a way to follow international law. Like you said, you don't pay much more attention about what international law says about a new nation like that. So, but I know that you have access to know. That's why I said you can research more on that, so you can keep yourself informed very well, very, very well. And I said before that Mazen Khan is part of it because he laid the foundation, and the template that PM followed. Both of them, host a program before he's kidnapped. And PM Simon Ekpa asked Mazen Khan, do you know what is motivated convention? That video is out. It's on social media. And he answered yeah, that he do. He was even surprised that Simon Ekpa is aware of that motivated convention. So that is the template that PM followed. And Biafran was later declared because PM also said the template before they also, send him in and all that. So please take your time, study it, and see how far we can go on that, because that's part of it. I don't want people to tell you, oh, this is a different group who don't like Mazen Namorikano. It's a lie. That's not true. We are all followers of Mazen Namorikano. We are all believe that we cannot stand the ideology from the north, cannot coexist with that of south. And since you cannot have the same ideology in the north to build a country, even you as a person, you can see it on your own. You can see the outcome of that togetherness. The belief system of the north is totally different from that of the south. So most of them believe that they believe in the caliphate. They believe in this what Muhammad said and all that. So thank you so much, Mike Arnold. And I would like you also to talk about lecture us on this one. What is Sokoto Declaration? We want to know. We want to have an idea of that. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm going to wrap it up here. I've been on here for a little over 2 hours, and I got lots to do. So I'm just going to address this. Look, America was recognized by France and other countries, and we still had to win a war and drive the British out. You're not going to get your independence through the courts. It's just not going to happen. Never has. It requires a mandate, and it requires a lot more than just paperwork. I'm just being real. That's all good to have, and it's something to transition into, and it's a prerequisite, sure. But you had all that in 1967 too, and America didn't help. Great Britain was the problem, and you think now that without everything you had then, they're just going to step in and all of a sudden say, "Bing, here's your wishes." That's not how it's done. Never has been. Power isn't given; it is built and it is taken. It was Andrew Jackson, president, did a famous quote. The Supreme Court of the United States mandated something, and his quote was, "They've made their order, let them enforce it." He didn't even care what the Supreme Court said in that instance. It's good. It's good to have the infrastructure in place. Absolutely. But that's not going to get you what you want. No one's going to walk in and say, "Okay, here you go." I don't see it happening. It's never happened that way. There's got to be more. There's got to be an unstoppable movement that compels other nations to recognize you. And also, America wasn't recognized first by the biggest nation on earth. Start with your neighbors. Go around to see if Cameroon will recognize you. Ghana. I mean, build the list, snowball it. That makes some sense too. Begging for crumbs from the United States, I don't see it ever happening. I just don't see it ever happening. Not in the status quo. Not when no American knows. Why would a politician expend their political capital here in the United States on an issue that nobody knows anything about? It doesn't make any sense. I agree that getting a structure in place and all that stuff legitimizes it for sure. But it's just like filling out the paperwork to go to college. You can be accepted to college. That doesn't give you a degree. That's where the work starts. So that's what I'd say. The Sokoto Declaration, I'm not going to divulge too much. It's been working very closely with Nnamdi Kanu through his attorney and through his brother. We've been exchanging messages, working on the draft. It includes, it's where we stand together. It's fully his and it's fully mine. And you're going to have to wait till the 30th to hear it. But I do have to wrap up. I appreciate this, but I've got stuff waiting for me. This is an honor to be with you.
Yeah. Before you go,
Mike, please don't go away. I have a very important question for you. You can go with it. You don't have to answer it now. Mazikai, is it okay?
Go ahead.
Okay.
And then we'll end with that because I do have to go.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. My name is Madam Origin, and I am here in the United States with you. That is why this question is important to me. On all that we have discussed today, particularly, there is a global aspect of it, which is the caliphate. And I also know what is going on here in America, especially on the conservatives, which I don't really want to talk about what the lefts are doing or what the media, the national media is doing, but particularly to two people I want you to send this message across to, because I have studied and listened to all the congressional meetings and all the things that are your heartbeat, which includes Christians at large across the world, including United States of America. When this global issue comes, how can we speak to and convince people like Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, to really understand what is going on? That what is going on in Nigeria, in as much as it is this bad, it can happen there. How can we, bring attention of the conservatives to what is going on in Nigeria? That it is not, if it moves from Nigeria, like you said, one of your, this is 6 million people that are already being radicalized in those camps. Some of them will come to America. some will go to other parts of the world. What are the conservatives in America doing to see how to mitigate these global threats?
Yeah, thank you. We're in a narrative war, and we're in a war against laziness and entertainment and self-importance. I mean, it's a constant fight. You know, the average young person in the United States today, they say, consumes 10,000 media messages a day. How do you break through that? You know, that's what I've been wrestling with for a while. First of all, it takes a lot of people working on it. It takes a lot of people standing up, a lot of people shouting. It takes organization. It takes a campaign. It takes money. Just practical reality. I'm working on a documentary film I've been working on for a long time. I believe that has potential. I make music that opens people's eyes. You just keep, I mean, I just did a conference last weekend in San Antonio, Texas, to educate, to unite the diaspora and educate the Christian community. There's no shortcuts, and unless you had, you know, a couple $100 million to spend on a advertising campaign. But even that is superficial. It's organization. It's going to go down to your park and stand there on the corner with flyers and saying, "Let me tell you about Biafra." I mean, you get 10,000 people doing that, and you'll get somewhere. There's no shortcuts. It's just work, and it's persistence, it's passion. You have all of that. Now it's about coordinating, educating, staying focused, and keep at it. I believe the timing is good. I'm glad that you have the prerequisites in place, but this is where the work is. Same with any social movement anywhere. You got to raise awareness. No congressman, no serious journalist. And just speaking from experience, they want to know what's in the news, what's trending, how do I get in front of it? Until it's trending, until there's something, until there's news, until there's an event that has people's attention, they're not going to look at you. So I'm just saying that's the reality of it. So there's a lot of work ahead. It can be done, and I believe the timing is good. Your future's not going to be decided in a court case. Never has been in the history of the world that I know of, not without significant movement behind it. So I love y'all. God bless you. I will see you again. I hope to come back soon, but I am going to log out now because I was due somewhere a while ago. I'm running late, but honored to be with you. Thank you. And
thank you so much. Thank you, Mike. Arnold, thank you. God bless you. I really appreciate your time, and I hope that when we call you next, you will answer us.
Okay, I look forward to it.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Take care. All right, we are going to wind down now. We have spent 2 hours, so please let me hear from each and every one of us before we wind down. Chino, let's hear from you. Let's start from you.
Okay,
just one minute, so we can now have other things to do.
I thank you so much for these efforts and bringing him here today. For him to know our stand. Our stand is only one thing, that America should organize Biafra. What Africa give them, let them give it back to us. That is my message to him. There's something he said, we must educate our people. The message is quite, we have 2 different messages. Message of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and message of Maz Simon Ekpa. The message of Maz Simon Ekpa is government to government. Mr. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is awareness to push us up. We need to.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think we have 2 different messages. Mazen Kanu is listen. Mazen Kanu understand the people that surround him. He cannot move to the other, because when you say we have to, it sounds like we are rivaling each other. No, this is one message.
No, I'm coming. There is how I want to connect the message. That's how I want
to
connect the message. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is this. The 2 messages we have, 2 of them has do their work. They have completed their work. One is to wake everybody's mind up. The other one is to go and get the Biafra he said that until we redeem who we are, and he prayed for Biafra as a country. So that's redeem he pushed us to is our peaceful declaration. Now, for us to take Biafra as a country, we must work hard, preach the message, and everywhere we are, talk about that this our peaceful declaration, and surrender it, and the help we needed for us to get recognition is all I think for me that we need to do this time by Mazen Simon introducing us what is called government in exile. The end point of the road is where we are. It can only end once we achieve our recognition. Now we have government that is representing the Biafran people. I want to just leave it there. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Somebody said that I should keep quiet because of what I said. I dropped the link for you to come here and give me reason why I should keep quiet. DOS members that are saying me I should keep quiet, follow the link and come here. Give me one reason. I'm not saying two. One only. Why I should keep quiet.
And including the group. Okay, group, they are all there.
Don't mind them. Does someone have the mic? After you, then Exodus.
Thank you so much, Brokai. Thank you so much for this wonderful program today. We really appreciate you. And we also appreciate Mike for honoring this invitation. We also thank our brother, Happy Marcel Okocha, for being also part of this program. And all my comrades here, I thank you all so much for being part of this program. Thank you all so much. Now, we have seen that we have to do what we need to do. We continue to create this awareness, continue to preach about our redeclaration. And as he said that we need recognition for things to start happening. We need recognition from other parts of the world for things to start happening, because we have redeclared our nation, yeah, but we need to make sure, continue to preach this gospel and make sure that we are being recognized from other countries. Talking of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's release and all that. So this is now in our own court to do more work to continue preaching this gospel and continue seeking for this recognition, because it is very, very imperative right now for things to start happening, both where Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is and the Biafran people as a whole. So I really appreciate you, Brokai, and all our viewers that are present here today. May God bless you all. Bless Mike, Arnold, and also our brother Marcel Okocha. So thank you so much, Brokai, for giving me this opportunity to be in this wonderful program today. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you.
Can I just jump in just shortly before you guys continue? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible. Kick Mazekai out.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you all the honorable people in the studio. I love you guys so much. Madam Ojugo, thank you so much for that wonderful question you throw. I'm not here to condemn anything or to accept everything. So some of his words, I don't believe in everything he said. Everybody must not believe in everybody. He has already said his own mind. But I see him as one Nigerian support, you know. So sometimes we're going to discuss more about this because there's some repetition of comments I got from him from other things, other places he has said, made some comments, which I didn't highly appreciate. Thank you so much for organizing such a program. Maybe we can take it from there from next time. Thank you.
All right, I lost my signal, so I'm just coming back. I did not get to hear what you said, my brother Ben Chooks, but it's okay. I will go back later after the program to hear what you said. I was struggling to join you, but my network is not helping me at all. We have a second some official. Let's hear from you because you came in before Obi-Wan and Evangelist.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
There, you're welcome.
Am I coming out?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, I greet you, sir. Read Biafra TV. I recognize your presence. And that's Simon Egba. Good evening. Master Exodus, Oga Rose, Obi-Wan, Evangelize Luz.
Louis.
Okay, Louis.
Yeah. Sekuna, salute you.
Ben Chooks and Madam Origin, I greet all of you. Hey man, I battle with the network. I noticed this in early, but for this thing to connect, for my system to connect, oh yeah, na battle. By this time around, na normal 10, degree, even my during fundraising. But in fact, sometimes I know they even follow fundraising to the end. So suddenly I connected now. Just post something on YouTube now. So can scroll. I definitely on live. Although Otiba can batarolosha. So although onwero ihe unu kwuru ebe a nke I didn't hear anything. I just see the thing and say, okay, let me just camera can get shigodu batana the program first. But I've gone on na rapozi up. So I am here with you people, listening and hearing as you people are concluding. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's going to some official. You are highly, highly welcome. Between Evangelist and Obi-Wan, who came in first? I think it should be Evangelist. Evangelist, don't mute your mic. Evangelist, don't mute your mic. Okay, Obi-Wan, let's hear from you, Obi-Wan. Unmute your mic.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Kai, and everyone else. Actually, I was watching the program from a different platform, and I was observing some comments and some people are making, and it's somehow disappointed that we all have a common threat in Nigeria.
What is the comment? What is the comment say? What is the comment say?
I don't need to mention the comment. It's just a personal whatever. But I'm just
you don't need to be worried. You don't need to be worried about it. Anybody have
I'm not worried about it. I'm just making a general comment on everybody.
All right. Go on.
Let me tell some of our people. We have a common threat that is in Nigeria. It's bringing everybody down. Whether you like, you keep laughing people that are making plan how to survive. And you are there because of personal hatred. You hate somebody or you think this person is not doing it well. And you choose to be so ignorant. And you can see what is going on in Nigeria. In Nigeria, where I learned that you can count from number 1 to number 10, and you jump from number 10 to number 70. I've never seen people count like that. A country where corruption has been normalized, that everybody in Nigeria is just behaving like as if we we are charmed, that like we are under a spell. Nobody is even talking about protests anymore in Nigeria. People are dying like chicken. Somebody's neck was cut off on a live national TV. And what happened? The president have never said anything about it. The president have never come and visited the place where people are dying. The ones that he visited, he told them that they don't have light in their airport, that they only have 10 minutes. This is a country that me and you are trying to survive. And sometimes when you see people that are taking a step to see about their survival, instead of you to support them, you will be making some nasty statement as if you are living in mass. Even if you are living abroad, your people are at home and in the village. Sometimes you think that the war is far, but you don't know it's at the back of your house. People, whether you are Yoruba or you're Hausa or wherever that you are, if you don't start looking for a black goat in the afternoon, in the night, you might not be able to see that goat. Because you know when they are talking about this threat, because you think he haven't reached you, one day they will carry the body of your junior brother or your uncle or your father or your mother. Then that is when you understand that the threat is real. I hate to see sometimes, because you know, anywhere we are, I know most of the people you see here are not professional journalists. Everybody is just trying to contribute in a way that they can because of one common enemy that we have. And you're going to be in the other side. You will be saying some certain things because you don't like the way this person talk. How many people love the way Nnamdi Kanu was talking? So many people don't like the way that he talks. At the end of the day, what is going on now? Are you taking in Nnamdi Kanu's attitude, or are you listening to what he was saying? Sometimes you listen to the message, not the person. They brought this man here today so that we can be able to have idea, only one question for the person to ask, so that we can grow. We haven't done this thing before. Nigeria that they created, the people that created Nigeria are smarter than you. They made it possible that you find it so difficult to live, to move out of it, because the structure that they used to build Nigeria is against you as a citizen. You will see retired policemen. The other one, a policeman, is complaining about the bullet that he received, and that the police decided to abandon him with all of those things and with the whole trauma. And the same police that they will bring out when you want to protest against their own welfare. Is it fair? Were we born so that we can suffer all our life? Were we born so that we can keep adjusting, readjusting all every time? The other day, they called them Rattel Group. I'm in support of anybody that choose to actually clean the street. But somebody is eating that money that very dark man is bringing out people to use to clean gutter. Somebody is eating it in the government. And you see some of our people, when you speak about Biafra, it seems like we are joking. Some people will call these ones are Sabo. Who is not a Sabo in this struggle? Everybody is a suspect because of the way Nigerians have structured our brain, that we keep suspecting ourselves, because hunger is everywhere. Because everybody knows that anybody can be compromised. If you just lose guard, they give you small money and next thing is compromised. So sometimes everybody, when you look at somebody doing something that you don't understand, you think that person is Sabo. They looked at Simon Ekpa. They said that Simon Ekpa is Sabo, because those ones that you expected to do something, they don't even know what to do. Somebody decided to move on. Try to keep making research so that all of us, me and you, will be free. Your mother, your father will be free. Wherever that you are, they are chasing us all out of other countries. Every one of us that is living in another country, they are telling Nigerians to go. Everywhere where they see you, they say you should go. What is pursuing you from your father's land? Wouldn't you want your kids to speak your language and grow? And when you are growing, you see the people you went to primary school with, all of you will grow together. What is going on in Nigeria? After secondary school, everybody will travel. The next thing we see ourselves is when we have gray hair, even the ones that will even recognize you when they see you. Is it normal? Is it normal? And every time we have normalized our sense to the extent that now common unity, we cannot unite and actually fight one common enemy. You see, Bola Tinubu, they have started rigging election. Before the election next year, they have started it, giving you more than 30 million of a vote, telling you that you will not do anything. And yet, most of Nigerians choose not to recognize that there is a common thread. Gumi came and told you that these people, you must live with them, that they are not going anywhere. When a military of a country start telling you that terrorists are their brothers, and everyone is just keeping quiet. That is the most annoying thing is that like, I remember when you hear that people were killed, hey, you be like, you shout, man. This time around, most of the Nigerian people, I think every day they hear 200 kill, 150 kill. It doesn't sound like as if some people are dying. It doesn't sound. Kids in the northern part of Nigeria now are experiencing trauma. The other girl, the girl was saying that when these people came to their village, they killed the people in their village. They threw the dead body inside the well. And that inside well, they still tell them to go to that well and keep fetching water they will be drinking. The same well.
Just 1 minute. This person that is commenting, you are two of you and you are very lucky that you are commenting from another platform. You are just very.
That
very
is
lucky.
the same. These are the same kind of people.
Two of you, listen. Obi-Wan, just a moment. You see this cowards here. You are a very senseless individual. I drop link for you to come here and tell the whole world how Kai Report is the jobless man, or you tell the whole world how I am. The other one said that the Kai Report, you are. Look at it. He said the Kai Report is a real demon. How I am demon, I don't know. Did I steal anything from you? Did I snatch
that
your wife?
guy is from Ogenkere group. So everybody should check those commenting from your platform. Block this monkeys away.
I don't know where they're commenting from. Please, because we are going to do it next time. Everybody that wants to stream must be you might have to keep your eyes on your comment section.
Yeah, keep eyes on the comment section.
You are very, very lucky. If you comment on my platform, I will send you to where your father is now. Down beneath the feet. Useless individuals. You guys, you are rising from your anus, and you are here commenting. Shameless. Okay, you want me to talk about? I don't even know where you. I was thinking that I know that the IPOB DOS is not actually. They don't reason properly, but I think they are far better than Ogenkere people. You are passing any tangible messages, and the same person says that somebody is not passing, that everyone is not passing tangible messages. You that is following Ogenkere, what message does he pass?
Please,
if you can understand him, then you can.
We don't opportunity to check who is this Anes Anyang. It's not from my comment section. That guy has been commenting rubbish. I don't know where the comment.
Maybe Mr. Kai, let me try and round up, please.
See, continue, please. Let's say
I don't. Let me tell you, anybody have every right to express their mind.
But not
everybody have every right. I'm talking about in general to talk whatever they feel in their mind. This kind of comment is maybe this person now is living abroad comfortably in a country where they've already built, but he doesn't know what people at home are going through, and he will be here because of personal hatred. You forgot that one tree can never make a forest. If we can be able to unite together and speak in one voice, all these threats will go. 2,000 naira for one loaf of bread. 2,000 naira for one loaf of bread. Bread, how much? Can you imagine for one day that you talk of buying a loaf of bread for 2,000 naira? And some 3,000 as well.
Obi-Wan, please, I'm begging you. Huh? Can you change the line of your submission? Because this issue of what Nigeria is passing through is not. I'm not interested.
Yeah, I know. I decided no. It's supposed to be a smaller speech because it's so heartbreaking that it seems like some people think
Nigerian election and all these things. we are not, to be honest, I don't want to entertain it now, to be honest with you. Because
no
matter how you lament,
problem.
so
No, I
look
felt
at,
I felt like I said I was watching from Okocha Marcel this thing because I really want to see how people react to something like this. So I feel like let me make a general statement because that we are looking for Biafra doesn't mean that
do
the threat is
you
not
actually
coming.
think they care? Do you actually think they care? Most of them, no matter what you say, until Nigeria happen to them, that is when their brain will reset. So you don't waste your energy. Focus on
Do
other
not,
things.
they should just stop underestimating people that are trying to help themselves. I believe in Biafra because Biafra is the only thing that makes sense for me that can make, I believe that one day I will be safe and sleep in Nigeria and wake up and sleep in my home and wake up and realize that I'm not being kidnapped. And that is why I'm suggesting each and everybody to go and find a way to save yourself too, than coming here to start causing trouble or start saying unnecessary statement that is not going to help. If you like, keep there. Keep laughing at people that are trying at least. One day it will reach your turn. May God bless the United States of Biafra. Thank you.
There will be one. I really appreciate your submission. Just that this issue of Nigerian P2B is to me is boring because I've realized that these people can never ever repent. So let them. I hope you are aware of this. Somebody from I think from Kwara State who said that there's nothing like Christian genocide. A week after saying that she died of Christian genocide. This is the world we are living in. Anyway, Divine Precious, let's hear from you. There for joining.
Thank you, Mazi. I can not check. I'm not from other ones. I'm not Olugo my tongue. Thank you very much for receiving me. Okay. Good evening, Biafrans. I'm very happy. Somebody just na my Arnold na Ununiana egu. So just rush kamalo egu. So I was like, with information here, but from na maybe no week I can't see him here, but it's all right. It's all right. I believe na bata before that na amam na Unu is capable to explain better what we are passing through, the truth about what we are doing, because the problem with some people that are like trying to be honest is still on ignorance of what we are passing through, or maybe some areas that they don't understand. Because in reality, some are just doing their possible best to see that everything works in accordance, or in a way that it will maybe there seems in their mind that is okay. How I saw him doing his things, he's trying to do it in maybe in sincerity, but sometimes there are some ways that is not like making it to be real. Because when you are like, let Nigeria be okay, or maybe when all these people will be taken away, the bad leaders, that things will be all right. With the three ethnic groups, or maybe or more, that is in that country, it can never work. The only thing that will make it work is that everybody will go their separate ways. Because you cannot tell me there is a way that you can make nature to change nature to be what it is not. Night is night, morning is morning. Yeah, they have their different ways of their presentation, which is important. Nobody is more important. If I have water, you might have maybe sand or other things that I might need. I'm sorry, or you might have another one that I might not have. I'm just using that as an example, just to tell you that nobody is much like that has it all. Some people have their wisdom, while some can do the work. You give idea, the other one do the work, and the other one is like maybe promote what you are doing to hailing and making it to move forward. That is how these things work. What I have in mind is that wait, before I entered was that I believe that by now he should understand better that trying to make Nigeria one is not a good idea, because I don't know if I'm going off the track in the topic, because I
No,
just
you're not.
entered.
You're not. Right down. Just say your mind, my sister.
Okay, because I came late, but I know that we are still on the same issue, because there is no how you would kind of air your own view that will still not be the same reality that it will end on. Because if you look into it very well, you cannot tell me that no matter how you train a goat and put a goat, a lion, which one again? Maybe which among animal is quiet? Maybe sheep. They don't have similar.
Good cat.
Okay, they don't have similar character, even though that they are animals. You will not use because they are animals and tell me that they will understand this. It's better, but when they commune or relate with their particular species, like let a lion be with their lions, let the cat be the cats, and let the sheep be with you will find peace. You will find peace. But do not tell me no matter how you train it, one day you will see something that will come out of it. That's why there was this lady, I forgot the name, but it just happened. It went viral when a lady that was a kind of grew with not dolphin, shark that had been like playing with it, using it as a contact. They have been watching it do it, and that day that nature showed itself, the shark swallowed the lady. Everybody knows the story I'm trying to. It is common in internet. So similar thing like that should not be used as a joke, because no matter how you pretend, cat and rat can never relate. All of them are in animal species, yet they don't work together. To make peace last, everlasting one, allow them to go their separate ways. That's the only thing that will make that peace to be permanent. And it will even be more of making this world a better place. Production and things will be that is, when there is competition, not with envy and jealousy. When there is competition, I'm telling you honestly, this world will be a better place. And I believe that the way Biafra has been raised from our leader Mazen Nante, even right from Ojukwu, we are peaceful people, we are loving people, we like to expand our hand to people to gain from what we have known. But that knowledge has been hijacked, it has been seized, it has been trampled upon, which have made the world to be. It is affecting not only us, it is extending to the entire world, because we know what we have bring in that will help to make the world a better place. But all has been hijacked because Nigeria wasn't made to work. For once, it have never worked, and not now that is work. So when people tell you that maybe if these leaders are being destroyed or being jailed or killed, that things will be okay, it won't be, because once those three ethnic groups that is not meant to be together are being joined forcefully, because it's not even by in acceptance. It was by force. So for that peace to reign, let the needful be done. The needful is the way it used to be before Britain joined us forcefully. The history is out there, everybody knows it. And now that we have realized where the problem lies, we should understand that the foundation is already faulty. For us to make this gigantic building that the African is expecting, that the world is expecting, let everybody go their separate ways, and it will make this world a better place. But for them to say, let us join together, that it will look at the way to make it better, they'll still plan the way they used to do it before, because all those things that have been happening during the time of even Ojukwu and all, most of the time they will tell you, okay, let us make peace, only for them to go back and start discussing something that is not what they have planned as in agreement. That's why till today, Gowon will come today and say sorry. Tomorrow he will look away to back himself up by saying it wasn't his fault, and look away to maneuver and to say some things to cover up those places that he have made mistake or even have done it wrong. To accept it is one thing that is very difficult for them, to accept their fault or where they have done it wrong. Till tomorrow, they are not saying sorry sincerely. How will you convince me to keep on agreeing with people like that, that tomorrow that they will mean what they have said? They did it not just to Ojukwu, they did it to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, even to our leader Simon of recent that we know. How will you tell me that they are convincing us that maybe one Nigeria is still possible, is to be believed? So my people, I don't know if I've said anything, but what we should have in mind is that whomever that is trying to help us in this movement, in this journey, in peaceful for future peace, long-lasting, everlasting peace, and justice to continue prevailing, nothing should be in your mind more than that separation, division, and nothing more. I might say we are no longer talking about division because already we have visited. But if you if you have love for Nigeria, maybe you want it to be okay. The only thing that you should have in mind is to be speak on that division, which everyone will go their separate ways and develop their country, which is what Ojukwu was clamoring for when he said, let there be regionally country, so that everybody will manage what they have. We have a lot of things in our land, but it's useless because the management is not there. No expansion of knowledge is, in fact, talent is waiting, a lot of things. All right. Thank you, Biafrans. All I want to be in conclusion is that we are on the right path, and anyone that loves truth should support Biafra, because that will be a place that other people will stand to move on, because we have already exited. And for help, our DPM used to say that we will be there to help others who want to be free as well. Thank you very much.
Master Kai, what are you now?
I am here,
It's
my
all right.
brother. I was receiving call. And please, we can make it just snap, but I want us to wind down so that other people
Let
that are
me
still
just drop this my information now.
away.
Can I drop my information now?
Yeah, make your
Okay,
make
now,
your
let me use this
River
opportunity
Goddess
and
is
drop
here.
my
River Goddess is here.
let's
River
get
Goddess.
first.
I don't want to take your time, my dear brothers and sisters, our media warriors. God bless you. I really appreciate all you are doing for us. Thank you for the togetherness. Thank you for the unity. I must commend, because I know that the kingdom of the evil one is on fire. You people have ignited the fire, because they always see good and they turn it to evil. The program you people did this evening was so wonderful, and it's creating a kind like awareness. But the people who are born, ndị a mụrụ n'arụrụ ala, and their life is to dwell in arụrụ ala, their life, they don't see anything good. Otu a ka ọ ga-adịkwa, good will not follow them. I appreciate you, Mr. Rose, for being in this midst today. I appreciate you, Madam Origin was able to call in. I thank you, Mazi Exodus. Thank you, Real Biafra TV and Ada Simon. And somebody is there ranting like an idiot. A baspeshi na akpọga Ada idiot. And ọ ya nwa bụ ezigbote Ada. This program emere now ka irigotere ka nnụnụ nọ, and you are streaming it. You didn't see anything good in the program that was done with your evil people and your evil agenda. Ị nọrọ ebe a na-agba onwe gị mmiri na-asị Arnold agwa ha na Ngozi Orabaeze bụ terrorist and everything. I know that this program will not meet you people well. I know that this program I appreciate you, my precious divine. Thank you, Mazi Kai. Thank you, Kelena. All of you, you guys have done great. I won't waste much of your time, because you people has almost wasted, at least sowed so much of your time. May God bless you all. Obi-Wan, I appreciate you. May God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
River Goddess herself, we greet you. We appreciate you.
Just a
Thank
minute,
you so much.
just a minute, please, just a minute, just a second. And Honorable Matthews on the line. He has been calling. He want to speak to us. Just a few seconds. He want to speak with us. Honorable Matthews, please, can you speak? Mic is on.
Thank you so much, my wonderful people. Don't mind my voice. I have cough, but I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much, Kai. Thank you, Biafra Zero TV. Thank you, Ada Simon. Thank you. I don't know how many of you are there. I thank each and every one of you. Please, if I didn't call your name, please don't be mad. So I just want to say this to each and every one of you. There is none like any of you there. Do not ever allow anybody to make you look small. Believe me, what the independent media is doing alone, what you guys are doing alone, is enough for the whole world to recognize Biafra. Don't ever allow anyone talk to you and tell you that nobody here knows Biafra or this person here doesn't know anything about Biafra. If they don't know, they should go and Google. So what I'm trying to say in earnest is this. Whatever you are doing, keep doing it, double it, and keep doing the needful. You are doing quite well. Our leader Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has said it all. Biafra is already here. Our PM said it. Biafra is already here. Our DPM said it. Biafra is already here. No one. We are not waiting. We are not begging anybody. In as much as we are trying to tell the world to support and recognize us, we will not allow anybody to make us feel small. All right? We have more than 500 people ratified the redeclaration of Biafra. No one in the whole world has ever had such numbers ratify their own declaration. So my people, let no one make you guys feel small. And I just came in when I think that's Biafra TV that was speaking. And he was really educating the whole world. So Biafra TV had just my class for me. Quite well. Thank you all for all you do. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you so much, Honorable Matthews. May God bless you. Bless every other genuine cabinet members and bless the government leadership of the United States of Biafra. We love you and we appreciate
Thank you so much, Matthews. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for your submission. I really appreciate it.
Honorable Matthews, we greet you. Thank you so much.
Honorable Matthews in Dewo, we greet you. I, on behalf of all the Umuadas.
What does it take to join Omada, please? I want to join.
Bring your wife. I'll only be your wife. Can I make a little comment while we continue?
I just want to say something. Maybe after, just make it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My Exodus, someone.
It's all right. Thank you so much, Nazikai. Thank you so much, Madam Origin, for giving me the opportunity. I just want to make it very, very brief. I'm about to attend to a family. Okay, I really want to use this opportunity to appreciate this program. I appreciate Kai once more for this wonderful program. And I appreciate every participant tonight in the studio and everyone. Understand, I really appreciate each and every one of us and our listeners, the new Biafrans all over the world. I also want to thank Arnold for showing up. at least to come in to hear the moment of truth. That's what I want to talk about. I like the caption, the moment of truth. At least he's been opportune to come and meet the real Biafrans and to come and listen from the real Biafrans. One thing is being assured tonight, the truth has been spoken, the truth has been revealed. The true government has been revealed to him, and it's up to him to go and make some researches. One thing I like most about my spirit tells me about the Arnold is I see him as somebody that have at least wisdom, and they have a discernment spirit. He's a matured man, and I believe after we have listened to us tonight, you know, he's going to do some research. We have made it clear tonight. Somebody's mic is open. Somebody's mic is open. We only have one government, USB, United States of Biafran government. That is the only one true government we have, whether the enemies like it or not. Only one United States of Biafran government, which is legitimate. This is a legitimate government. Anything outside United States of Biafran government, as long as the Biafran movement is concerned, anything outside USB is fake. All we need now, please, can somebody off the mic? Can somebody off your mic? Somebody's mic is open. You're disturbing the program, please. Who is that?
God is with me.
I have done that. Don't worry. Continue, my brother.
We only have one government, USD, United States of Biafran government is the only legitimate government as long as this Biafran government, this Biafran movement is concerned. Anything outside USB government is fake. We have made that known to Mark Arnold. And I want to use this opportunity to thank Atri Biafran TV for the research.
God is with me. God is with me.
Just remove him. Like it's not ready.
God is with me. Please do not mute your mic or mute your mic again, please. Just hold on. There's a noise from your background, and you keep on.
Thank you so much. So that thing has been meant to Makano tonight. I've been very, very happy about this program because in this Biafra movement, if we are on email, we know we have a lot of enemies from any side, and we know that they don't want our freedom. They don't want us to manifest. And the USB Act that have manifested, it comes with a very, very good agenda for everybody. The agenda of peace for everybody, an agenda of fairness for everybody, an agenda of equity and justice for everybody, an agenda of progress for every citizens of Biafra. And that is the mission of Mazina Dikalo. And that is the mission of PM Samineba. And that is the mission of Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Ngozi Arabeze. And that is the mission of every lovers of freedom all over the world. We mean no harm to everybody. We are united under one family. And those people that are fighting against the United States of Biafran government, for me, they came very, very, very late. It is the duty of the Americans, just like we made Makano to know, for them to assist us, to recognize us. The only thing we need now is only recognition. Recognition from American government or from Israeli government or from any international government. We need recognition only. That is the only thing we need. We don't even need their armies in our land. We need recognition only. We can face these people one-on-one, all these people that are coming in our land to come and buy our people. We can handle them. We don't need their help. If they refuse to recognize us, just like Honorable Matthew said, one, we will make them recognize us. We will continue to speak. We will continue to tell the world our story. We will continue to tell them who we are. And we will continue to tell them what we represent. And everyone that is still sabotaging this movement by this time, you don't want to face the truth that United States of Biafra is the divine mandate. Shame on you. In a little bit time, Biafran speak all of them one by one also. So if you are in United States of Biafran government, celebrate. But if you are outside USB government, so we all that are United States of Biafran government, we are under grace. We are under almighty umbrella of Chukwuka Biama. And all our good wishes will surely come to pass. So thank you so much, Masikai. Thank you, Biafran TV. Thank you, Ada Simon Epa. Thank you, Oluchiwa God. Thank you, Princess Divine Precious. Thank you, Madam Origin. Thank you so much. Good to hear from you again. And thank you, Greg. And thank you, Rose, and every other people that are speaking here tonight. And thank you, every commenters, everyone that are here with a very good mindset. Comment rubbish. Don't mind them. They are all jokers. I love you all, and God bless us all. God bless
Thank
you.
you so thank you so much, Exodus. I love that part that you said in the way good conscience out. That's the way you put it. The thing is that some people don't understand. There's one guy who I think the guy from Ogenkere. He said the guy reporter should tell him who is none. Who look at that? He said I should tell him who is none against Simon. So I think it's Simon Ekpa. I'm looking for that comment. I have it here before, but I don't know where the comment is now. He was now. Let me Kai reports. Okay, look at it here. Kai report who hates Simon Ekpa and now loving him evil. Nobody hates PM from USB. That's number one. Number two, if you want to know who actually hates PM, let me remind you, as we are all Biafrans, but some of us are known for forgery and altering. So I have not forged any document that PM, introduced to Biafrans. I have never for once, attend any meeting, plan on how to plotting on how to, dethrone him, to elect another person to take his office. I have never for once raised any money against him. I have never for once protested against him. I have never changed from calling him Simon, Biafran Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, to Mr. Simon. I have not done that. And I have not, dragged anything that PM established. I have never insulted anybody that PM elected to be in power that have not turned against PM. Not you, that are dining and whining with a man who claimed that CRC is a government. CRC, Conflict Resolution Committee, a committee. You converted a government because you want to become more prime minister than PM himself. Some of you are some of you from Aborosi, I'm not from there. So remember, I'm not in government. Independent. I am independent. And if you want to be my friend, please can you be truthful? Thank you. Then let's hear from our own brother, one and only Oluchiwa God. Let's hear from you, sir. After you, then we cannot hear from Master Greg. I hope from there we can now wind down. Madam Orji wanted to say something before. Sorry, please. Madam Orji, please, can you just
yes, Masika, I haven't made it. I just asked the question and I have to make my own comment and observation. Thank you so much for organizing this. You did a great job. And FYI, the whole purpose for this interview is achieved. One is create awareness. One is to bring everyone together, reminisce over what is going on in both the contraption called Nigeria and in Biafra land. And everybody is on the same page. I didn't hear anyone that said Nigeria has any mequatalism. Everyone that spoke here have made it clear that there is nothing left inside that contraption. It is a place that eats its own inhabitants, and nobody should support it to thrive, because so long as it's thriving, the people are dying. Another important thing is what our prof did was to summarize USB, where we have been and where we are heading to, which is a top notch. Thank you, Professor Chino. And also but there is something I want us to also pay attention to. The two people that are not independent media that came in, one is Mr. Mike Arnold, and the other person is Mr. Okocha. And both of them, it's like everything is in alignment. They see the danger, and they have seen all the insecurity, the danger the Nigeria state poses. And they also agree that dismantling Nigeria is the only way out. Anything else anybody is saying, there are a lot of options, but the only solution is dismantling that demon so that the people inside can breathe. A quick one, another important one, because it's important, you know, as we have talked for these 2 hours, this is what I'm going home with that has made me feel so much at peace and say we've done a great job today. And that is for everyone of all the maybe 7 channels that opened up to this podcast today, have been able, anybody that here will know that the sequence, the process to which got us here is a continuum that started with Dimo Dumegochukwu, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, being, as we speak, the president, the head of USB, and Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister. Dr. Ngozi Orabueze, who is out, is the one in charge, in control, with the position as the Deputy Prime Minister. It is very clear to anybody that logged in here today. So that being said, I just want to say thank you to Mazi Kai and to all our media that came in. You all did great. And with that, I rest it. God bless everyone.
Thank you so much. God bless you, Madam Origin. Oluchuago, let's hear from you.
Okay, Master, thank you so much. I'll be very, very brief. I want to thank everyone. You know, at this time, Ekpa, Exodus, and our sister who just spoke now, and, you know, the goddess left, EJ, you know, and everybody here. But during these interactions, Mazikai, I see, what Oyibo, let me put it in this form. Oyibo are very, 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 very cunning. What happened here today? You see, this man have been going for several interviews. That's something he keep projecting. They're doing as if they don't know United States of America have been declared. They're doing as if they don't know who Dr. Rebeze is. But today, Master Exodus just said, I want you to answer this question. Do you know that the United States of America, he said he knows. Do you know, Doctor? He said he knows. You see, but the problem here in Mazika is that these people, they know the truth. When they go out there, whether he goes to their parliament or he goes to Arnold, I heard when he spoke to the Congress, and I remember the person who called him, they said they did it on the ground, because if Nigerian government understand they are coming to do that they will block it. And imagine they said, this is a former governor of Florida State. So, but what I'm saying is, this so-called Oyibo one, they know the truth. My problem with them is inability to say what it is. Mazin Chino was telling him himself the way America got their independence, what happened from 500, from 56. The thing, the man is speechless. But when they go out there asking, oh, you need to unite, oh, when you go to America, nobody's who that is pure lie, because was it not America, Georgia, who gave Nnamdi Kanu citizenship? How did he say nobody is 1,000, nobody's? That is not true. That is a wrong perception. That nobody knows about. One is 100% lie. It's because them, people like him are not projecting it the way it's supposed to project it. And that's someone that cornered him. He tried to come in and he tried to paint it. Let me tell you, Mazi, like what our brother said, area of a nation. And they know it. Because you remember what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said. Instead, if you want to hide document from black person, put it in a paper.
It's true.
what the Chino is bringing, they are surprised to hear this. They are shocked that how did this man get this information? They are surprised to hear all this coming out from this kind of race. So, but having said that, Mazi, look, what we have done, I don't want to go far, but what I want to say to you today is, may the King of Kings, may Elohim, continue to uphold all of you for standing by the truth, for bringing this to the knowledge of Biafra. But this man, I got I think 1, 2, 3 interview, that was a joke. Today, this man will go home and begin to ponder about USB. He begin to think about doctor, because what he had when I heard this man here, 1000% truth. Make up truth. Massacre, he measured the man pieces by he just here. All the don't find there, but this is what we want. This is what is called international journalism. You don't hold back truth. You don't want to say, oh, let me not ask this. Everything was thrown at him. And to God be the glory. Today, he will ponder about this interview today, I'm telling you. But he never had this type, because this is the first time all the interview I have seen him. What is going on? And also, I with a problem. We need to come together. Kai, you scolded him. You taught him that no, we don't have. All other people need to see here. They will come and embrace United States of Biafra.
Can I take it there from you a little bit, not much?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, do.
You see, one of the things that he said something about political capital.
Yeah.
And if you listen to, I've gone through most of his postings about Nigeria, about Biafra, and about everything.
Yeah.
This is the man that is diplomatically closest to speaking for Biafra.
Yeah.
Now, we all know that our Agunwa, Dr. Ngozi Oreboweze, you people don't know the caliber who Dr. Ngozi Oreboweze is.
Yeah.
And for her, you see, whenever I come here and I keep telling you about the diplomatic footwork with which she is using, so why I'm just calling in is to let you know that, look, Mike Arnold, I respect him. He did a great job. Everything he said, even when what he was saying is be louder. He didn't say you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
What he is saying is be louder, push more. What he is saying is do more. He never said, he never felt like we are not doing anything. Okay. And the other thing we had him say is some of these things you have to be behind for the sake of the health of what we are pursuing. Exactly. Let most of this conflict be done behind closed doors.
Yes.
That is so I very much I like this interview. It is the information that needed to go out has gone out, and that's where I want us to keep it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Mazikai, I yield my mic, and thank you, our sister, for putting the rest.
There was sir. Thank you so much.
Mazikai, because all the possible you help me because of where I am.
I appreciate it, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. God bless you, Olushua God.
Mazikai, because if possible, just can tell one or two words because of
you can have Mazi Greg, you. Report.
Yeah, Mazi, look, I'm on ocean. So if I brought this one now, if I go back for me to come out again to listen, and I'm already out. Yeah, Mazi, thank you so much. I thank you, Biafrans, and all our media today. You are fantastic. I love you. You have done a good job. Number one, although I did not start in time, I think you have gone almost 1 hour plus before I joined. But if I can pick from the where I started, I think Mike Arnold, I greet him as well I thank him for coming and for giving Biafrans, United States of Biafra, chance to stay with us and have a little discussion. But what I can find out, just like my sister Manorigin said now, I think Mike Arnold is a kind of man that, you know, he cannot promise you that he will kill a lion when he cannot kill chicken. So he is a kind of man that will tell you, I cannot kill chicken, even when he knows that he can kill lion.
Yeah.
So that is what I understand him, and I love him for that. When he said that the American public is not much aware about Biafra, my answer there is American public doesn't need to know much about Biafra before American government will come in and recognize Biafra. And there is no American government today that is not aware of Biafra, even from 1967, 68 to 70. Every powerful man now in America, there's none of them from the American president that is Trump. Trump is aware of Biafra war, Nigerian Biafran war. Trump is aware of all the evil and about the Nigerian government. He's aware about the evil treatment against Biafrans. Mr. Trump was the person the Biafrans we are rejoicing when he won the first time, and the Buhari command his armies and they went and they killed many of them without only carrying American flag and Israel flag and Biafra flag. Many of them were brought down. So these are the message that we want Mike Arnold to be carrying. And I'm happy today how you guys organize yourself. This is super. It's not a there is no leakage from the time I joined, because I will still go back and rewatch from the beginning. But from the time I joined, your coordination was fantastic. And that shows, if Mike Arnold tells himself, he will know that that is different from all the group maybe he must have visited and the one he might be visiting. Today he will understand the difference between capital B and Okwenyi Zonala. So that's why we preach unity. And when you are in love with one another, everything you said will always come in line with what we are doing, without nobody disturbing or distracting his brother or his sister. Everything went the way it's supposed to be. So I'm grateful for how you guys handled it. And the way our brother Chino give him the history about Biafra, even the United States of America, and the international convention laws, and about Maz, Samanep, and Joko. So these are the works that he have to help us to do. He can only help the level he can. What I want the United States of Biafra government to understand today is this: we don't want to underrate anybody, especially those that can speak out, like Mike Arnold. Any such a person that suffers and we see him talking about freedom, we must grab that person and let him know about Biafra problem. That is the only way we can make things louder and continue fighting for our freedom. Are we there? 100% we are there. Mike Arnold cannot come here and tell you, don't worry, tomorrow Trump will going to give you Biafra. The America will recognize you tomorrow. No. He will tell you to carry on, continue your fight. That is the message he gave us to do. And we have to continue in unity. Prolate your brother and sister. All those people that they say they are, yes, we can reconcile with them, but for them to have chance in Biafran government, there will be nowhere. We will not give them that chance. If that is unity, what unity is all about, for them to come into government or how to manage things, they will not have it. But for them to be like me, to support in anyhow, They are welcomes. They are still our brother. We have not rejected them to that extent. But what we cannot accept is for them to come and be partaker of the government. We will not accept it. We allow the government that are together in unity to continue carrying on their job. And that is what we preach. So thank you, brothers and sisters. Carry on and may God bless you.
Ndewo, thank you so much, Master Greg. Just to add one thing to what you just said, because I believe that government is in better position to dictate who to welcome and who not to welcome, how to position things and all that. So, but we, as a citizen, you can suggest. So let's not just make it categorically clear that you say no. The door is open. There's a reason why US government keep on open their door for as long as we Biafran come in. That's a story of Oliver God is still here. Oh, he's no longer here because I would have loved him to tell the story, because there's a story of an IPOB member that his ID card came out. He applied. They called him basically, he just sneak in and apply. And of course, when the ID card came out, they called his name. He happened to be somebody who belonged to the US, who is calling Samonet by Perima. But he went behind, applied. Even he applied when PM was here, not now. And DPM said, okay, send the ID card to him. I was like, okay. Because I heard him, I was like, why? Because he's not a member. So actually, he's not going to use that to commit a crime, to commit one or two things. Government said, no, he's a driver. Give it to him. You do understand? So personally, you may feel like, oh, he don't need to give it to his enemy. But government said no. They give it to him. If some of us that are here, we don't have ID card. But somebody who is clapping for Chike, he used the ID card to stabilize his stay in the country where he resides. Another one who can remember. I made a video about that one. They say, okay, show me video, show me evidence. Because I don't own you anything. If you're in doubt, go and ask government, is it true that one of our fallback members is in your house? Something like that. You can't do it. After all, you said you're a government, so government to government. But you can't do that because you know that you are just a committee of friends. Anyway, thank you so much, Master Greg. Let's hear from Ocean. Is that Ocean Master? Please, can you make it snappy? One came out, you can agree about. Let's hear from you.
My brother, I thank you for this wonderful program.
Network ekikwana out. Network ekweghị ekweta. Unmute yourself, Bro Kai. Unmute yourself.
Really? So I don't even know. God is with me. Let's hear from you, because let me try and call Showmaster direct.
Good evening, Kai Report.
There.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Good evening, that's Simon and Exodus and Biafra TV. Everybody man the house and make an onion.
There we
Can I just make a little submission? Leave?
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Hello?
Ocean, just hold on. Let him finish his statement, then I will call you. God is with me. Can you just
hello? Don't worry.
Okay, Ocean Master. Mami get go from phone ever. All the call academy and here again I talk now.
Okay, my brother. Okay. My voice around the house.
Loud and clear now.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, let me just thank you personally for this great outing today with my Arnold. And I thank everybody, every independent media that have participated, those who could not make it today. We know you are doing pretty well. this is one of his kind.
No.
Mazi Kai, I will not say I'm speechless, but there's a lot of things to take home from the word of McDonald. And I believe the government listened attentively. There's a lot the government, their friends should take home, and there's a lot to work on without being emotional or sentimental. We can understand all his words, knowing the background where he comes from. And just like what you said about him, he's somebody who will not tell you that he's going to kill elephants for you tomorrow. But even aside that, we must have to work on our own. In one of his words, he used the word of our PM, that freedom is not given. It's planned, like his faith. It's taken. You work on it. You do a lot. So, I think he said a lot on that. Let me thank Chino.
Chino, are you still here with us?
I'm not here.
Okay.
Okay, good. Yes, I believe that Biafrans around the globe, sensible people, appreciate the work you're doing. Your voice may not sound as melody, as sweet as many people may like it, but what you're doing is digging deeper, is cutting deeper, is going underground and bringing the treasures right from under the nature to the surface. So, Mazi Chino, thank you for the wonderful submissions and the way you have brought you speak today on this program. It's a wonderful one. And this voice, this message, this research goes beyond our imagination, the way I look at it. I thank you, Adesai Monepa. You really do it as one that they are. You really did wonderful. Just like somebody said that you cornered the gentleman. Thank you very much.
There you
Thank you, Mazi Exodus. It is you who really did wonderful well. I don't know how to thank you. You said it without mentioning words. Mother Origin makes a wonderful comment while the man was there. I thank each and every one of you, Mother River Goddess, everyone who speak. And I want to thank you, Jose, as well. Even you can, feel, you can feel the vibration when you talk. You can feel this, I don't know how to put the word, but at least the table was shaking somehow. Even the answer is somehow as well, but we can understand it. And that is part of the thing that will give us more strength to move. Because you don't look up to anybody to win your battle, fight it by yourself. Help will come. Thank you, all of you. Because of where I am, I will leave it as at that. If time permits me, maybe I may come up. Thank you, Mazikai. May God bless each and every one of you. And else, thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless you, Ocean Master. I think we have come to an end. We are going to hold it here. Thank you all for joining us. I will allow my sister, one of us, that's Simon. Please, let's hear from you. You are going to be the last. I think everyone have made submission here. So let's hear from you.
Broka, in fact, I'm overwhelmed for this particular program. Mike was here, and today he would testify that the people he met today, these are the real people that he met today. And just like our brothers have said, he's going to go home with something tangible today. And he's going to know exactly what Biafrans stand for and what Biafrans want as at this particular point in time. So I really appreciate you for this wonderful program, and I pray that this program, maybe you're going to repeat it again whenever you have the time and whenever Mike have that time, so that some of the questions that was not able to be presented will also be given to him to answer. So, and now we have already known that he's trying to, you know, be very careful. He wants to be very, very careful, maybe because of the Nigerian terrorist state and all that, you know. But the truth remains that we, the Biafran people, we are on the right track, and we will continue to do what we are doing. He said that freedom does not come so easily like that, of which we all know about that. And then we are going to continue preaching this gospel and continue to create the awarenesses to the whole world why it is important for them to recognize Biafra. Because we have known today from what Mike said that everything we are doing is based on the recognition of the Biafran nation. When this happens, then a lot of things will follow. So we will continue to preach and continue to create this awareness to the whole world, telling them the importance of this recognition to the Biafran people, all our people that are being held in different prisons without trial, disappearing our people, our youth, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu being incarcerated in that zoo terrorist government prison without committing any crime. We have now seen that all this is based on our recognition now. And we are also happy that he knew that Biafran people have already declared their nation in Latifiland, and that our DPM is now in charge. And then with this recognition, other things will follow. So we are happy that the message have been conveyed to him in a way that he will understand it very, very well. All this while, I have been going to all these pro-Biafran groups. Nobody have really tell him what he's supposed to know. But today, all that he need to know have come to his table today. So, Brokai, I really appreciate you for this wonderful program today, and thanking all our people that joined. Also, our brother Okocha Marcel, we really thank him for making our chance to be a part of this program. So we don't care what people say. People will continue to talk negative things, but we don't care. We'll continue to fight till we reach to our goal, and that is the fact for now. So we really thank our viewers that made themselves present today to listen to this wonderful broadcast, and our brother Ezenwi Ife that have showered us with his blessings today through his super chat. We really appreciate him, and we pray that Chukwu Okike will continue to replenish his pocket abundantly. In the name of Chukwu Okike, we pray. Our river goddess, our Madam Origins and our brothers and sisters that join us in this program. And always, they have been joining us always anyway. So we really appreciate all of you. I cannot continue to mention your names one by one. You know yourself. And we really appreciate you all. Thank you all so much for being part of this program. Chino,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for what you do for Biafrans. And our mouthpiece of the gods, we also thank you for chipping in your own quarter of this particular program today. Thank you all so much, and may Chukwu bless each and every one of you. He say,
thank you so much. Chino, 1 minute, please. I want you once you go off. I want to have all of you, those of you that are still here, whether you just as long as you are still here, please remain. Just 1 minute after this. Chino, just go straight to the program. Sorry, what you want to say? Sorry.
No, just I want to pass the audio records to 1 minute. Then I'm not saying anything. Just after I play, I won't say any word. Just
what message is that? Is it necessary?
Yeah, it's never necessary because we have them here. I just want them to hear this audio voice and take it as final message this evening, please. It's not necessary.
Right on.
Okay, network.
Take your time.
When a nation pursues sovereignty through modern diplomatic frameworks and administrative, international recognition often comes in stages. Historically, friendly sovereign states extend formal diplomatic recognition to these exiled or provisional structures based on international law, such as the principles later formalized in the Montevideo Convention. The most notable historical examples of governments in exile and provisional authorities that achieved formal international recognition following a declaration, along with the specific countries and years of recognition, include 1. The Provisional Government of the Algerian Republic, GPRA. The Algerian National Liberation Movement transition from agitation to formal administration is one of the most successful modern examples of an exiled provisional structure achieving rapid international recognition. The declaration, seeking a structured administrative approach to statehood, leaders declared the Provisional Government of the Algerian Republic, GPRA, on September 19, 1958, establishing an official ministerial framework in exile. International recognition. Pakistan, 1958. Pakistan was one of the very first nations to officially recognize the GPRA as the legitimate government of Algeria immediately in 1958. Even permitting them to open a diplomatic mission in Karachi and issuing Pakistani passports to Algerian leaders for international diplomatic travel. Egypt, Tunisia, and Morocco, 1958. These neighboring North African and Middle Eastern nations extended immediate formal recognition in 1958, providing the physical territory and administrative hubs for the government in exile to print documents and coordinate external affairs. 2. The Polish government in exile. Following the dual invasions of Poland in 1939, Polish leaders refused to surrender. Instead, they maintained the legal and constitutional continuity of the Polish state entirely through an administrative government in exile based in London. The framework. The government maintained a full presidential and ministerial structure, preserving the pre-war Polish constitution, issuing official state documents, and managing a massive global diaspora network. International recognition. The United Kingdom and France, 1939. Immediately upon its formation in 1939, both Britain and France formally recognized the London-based structure as the sole, legitimate legal authority of the Polish state. The United States, 1939. The US extended formal diplomatic recognition in 1939, maintaining an official ambassador to the Polish government in exile throughout the global conflict. The Vatican, Holy See. In a powerful display of diplomatic continuity, the Vatican maintained official, unbroken diplomatic recognition of the Polish government in exile for decades, holding out until 1972. 3. The Czechoslovak National Council and Government in Exile, led by Edvard Benes, Czech and Slovak leaders used a peaceful, highly organized administrative committee system during major global conflicts to secure the legal re-establishment of their state. The recognition, 1918 and 1941. During their first push for independence, the United States, France, and Great Britain formally recognized the Czechoslovak National Council as a de facto government in 1918 before the physical territory was even fully secured. Later, during a secondary exile period in London, Great Britain granted full formal legal recognition to the exiled government structure in 1941. The role of Days of Remembrance and Heroes' Days. In the history of self-determination, a Day of Remembrance or Heroes' Day serves a critical administrative and diplomatic function. It is rarely just a day of mourning, rather, it is used by an exiled or provisional government to 1. Demonstrate popular sovereignty. It proves to the international community that the global diaspora and the population at home widely accept the authority of the administrative government. 2. Assert legal continuity. By honoring the historical lineage of the state's heroes, the government in exile anchors its modern peaceful declarations in a documented history of legitimate statehood. 3. Launch diplomatic offensives. Major structural announcements, the unveiling of national identity systems, or formal appeals to foreign parliaments are strategically timed around these historic days to maximize international visibility.
Yeah, Mazakai, thank you. The only thing I want those that followed us today to understand, that is what Mark Arnold said, which is my take home today. We need to push for organization, push USB is pushing for that. And that is why I refer him to America, over 500. For him to know that those that are commenting here, there are those in America that never want America should be a country. That is those you see commenting what does not need into what we are doing today. So the world has already knew, and we're on the right track. How Poland, Algeria, Czechoslovakia, many countries get their own. What we were hearing here as a government, that is where we are. So Biafrans, you are on the right track. Stay strong. Remember Saturday, our hero days at hand. You must pick your ticket once you're in Europe. Please be on the Washington DC, because history must repeat and the human being must read the history out. Join among those that are standing on the law that is already existing. That is what I want to pass this evening. No USB we are declared, no Biafra as a country. Take it or you leave it. Thank you so much.
All right, so thank you so much, my people. God bless all of you that joined us. Those of you on the comment section, SNYFM. I don't know where to start sending my greetings to you, but God knows your heart. May He reward you the way to grant you your heart desires, your wishes, and all of you on the comment section, those of you that started when we started, of course, join us and commenting and all that. May God strengthen you and visit you at the point of your own needs. Where Madam Origin, you already know that God cannot, forsake you. Thank you so much. And Divine Precious, Ada Simon, all of you, Biafra TV. Please, my greetings to our own brother, Okocha, who joined us.
Yes.
Who joined us today, and our own brother, our own person, Mike Arnold. Thank you so much, sir. Hope that we'll have you again. Thank you, and God bless you. So, my people, take care of yourself, and see you again. Bye-bye for now.